Nice, Gary.
Hey guys, Jeff from Warg here. Coming at you with something a little bit different today. Sort of got a guest from the last Alliance of Noobs and Men, and to get in theme with them, we thought we'd do a bit more of an opinion piece. So I've got the crew here today, and we've got Sean. G'day, Sean.
G'day, lads.
Today we're looking at doing a bit of a list review. We've got a local 800-point tournament coming up, probably one of the more competitive events in our Queensland League. We've got the four Warg boys and Sean here, and we're going to have a bit of a look through some lists and see what kind of filth people are bringing and, you know, who the theme masters are, I guess. So starting us off, Kel's the TO, mate. What do we got up first?
Up first, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everything in between, is Sean Risotto, our former winner of this tournament last year, and his Gondor.
It's me.
And I believe you've pressed Control-C, Control-V, Sean.
Not quite. I've changed this one around.
Okay. So, would you like to take us through your list, mate?
Yeah. So, starting off, 800 points of Gondor. I've named it The Whole Rule of Gladstone is Mine and No Others.
Also known as
the last one. Pardon? Also known as the Bolt Thrower. So it's starting off with the leader, big Boromir, with his banner and a shield, not on a horse because he's the best support hero in game, so he doesn't need a horse. He runs around with Warriors of Gondor, a couple of spear and shield, and then a couple of Fountain Court Guard. The next warband we walk into is Ingold, who has the exact same warband as Boromir, just minus one of the Fountain Court Guard. Then we've got Syrian with 11 Citadel Guard with their longbows, so this nice strength 3 bows. And then the big one, the big two bolt throwers, both with swift reload. It's a very shooty Gondor list. It's going to be a slog to use because it's going to be a really, really slow moving army. But it's going to be nasty. It's going to put some work in. So we've got 46 models in total, 14 points of might, and 11 bows, not including the bolt throwers.
Wow.
And still,
it's
46 models. Good, 46 models with the lowest defense being defense 5, 11 strength 3. But that's just that is a pretty tough army, man.
I'm not looking forward to the scenarios where I've got to get to the other side of the board. They're the ones that I'm worried about. But beyond that, should be all right.
Yeah. I don't know. We haven't seen. I suppose we can keep a record as we go, but at the moment, this has definitely got my pick for the most killy list on the table. Objectives are the great equalizer, so I don't know how to play into all the missions, but definitely at the moment, this strikes me as something that is just going to bend other armies over, sort of thing. So yeah, what are your other lads' thoughts?
The idea behind this, sorry to butt in. I think the idea behind this is to kill as many, well, obviously that's the game, but like to drop my opponent to just before they break, and then I just run around shielding for as long as I can until I get myself to those positions I need to be in. That's basically the objective of this army, and that's how I'm hoping to cap my objectives in those games.
Yeah, because I noticed compared to your list that I've seen you run last time, you had Denethor, Huron, and Cavalry instead of the Long Guard Citadel bows, and you had a bit more maneuverability. And I think that was a pretty solid list still. You had some Minister of Bowman in there, I believe, actually, as well. So and your model count was more or less the same, but it was relying more on
I think I had 41 models in that last list. So it's, I'm dropping 4 or 5 models. But yeah, I am suffering from losing those Minister of Cav and Huron. Huron is absolutely incredible, that lad. So missing out on him is a big one. But Ingold and Syrian both fight 4, but they're both 3 might striking captains. Essentially, they should be able to put in a bit of work. I'm not looking for them to kill things. I'm just looking for them to sit there and hold shit off.
Yeah. So the heroes aren't really doing any heavy lifting. Like the way it sounds like you want to run it, Boromir isn't going to really fight anyone if he can help it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly how I ran the list at the last two Gladstone tournaments, because I ran the same list at both of those ones. And Boromir, yeah, he's a support hero. And then, if my opponent does somehow break through my lines, suddenly they've got to face a full stack fight 7 Boromir, and it's right. How you going?
Yeah, right. Okay.
Question for you, Sean. Why Syrian in the Citadel Guard? Why not Irolas or Ingold instead of leading the warband instead of them?
Honestly, it's because I just had a Syrian floating around. That's basically it. I like that he's 55 points, so he's a real cheap captain level model, and he's got the ability to strike as well with those 3 points of might. So that was also another drawing point from him. I was considering like a Knight of the White Tower at one point, so an extra 10 points for them. Irolas was tempting, as was Hurin, but once again, I did also want to try and keep the model count as high as possible, just to allow for the bolt thrower and the bows to continue putting in as much work as possible with their shooting.
Probably, I was serious at the preamble, but as we're going, lads, everyone except for Cal, we haven't seen these lists yet, so we're going in a bit cold. If everyone, while we're going, come to the end, let's all pick a list that we think has the chance to take home the tournament, eh? So just keep a bit of a tally as we're going, and yeah, everyone come up with a list that they're going to pick to win the tournament.
Fantastic. Well, I think that can conclude opening thoughts on Mr. Risotto's dish, so to speak.
Pretty gross, Sean. Like, you're going to make no friends.
Yeah, look, I thought, after winning the last two Gladdy events, I've got to come in strong. I've got to go for the 3-peat. Like, as much as I wanted to run my all Warg army, I was like, it's too good of an opportunity to get that 3-peat. So I needed to take something a little bit nastier.
Yeah, good chance, I think. Good chance. I mean, like you said, objectives will be the equalizer, but 2.5-hour games, you've got a lot of killing power. You just kill some stuff, walk up the board, get to the objectives, and then finish everybody off. I think you've got
that's the goal.
Do the job. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, up next, we've got the rules lawyer himself, Mr. Riley.
I hate this list so much.
You've seen it already, then I take it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, fun fact, he's our resident Easterling player. Really good general, really good bloke. But he's gone for basically Easterlings without the new Legion, but taking the Dragon Emperor.
Interesting.
So I'll run us through it. We've got in the Warband 1, with the leader, obviously, the Dragon Emperor. 4 Easterling warriors with shields, 4 warriors with pikes, 4 black dragons with pikes, and 6 acolytes. Warband 2, Armder on armored horse, 3 Easterlings with bow, 1 black dragon warrior with bow, 1 black dragon cataphract with war drum, and 3 black dragon cataphract with axes. That's what the swap weapon will undoubtedly be. Warband 3 is Mr. Brogir, the Chad, with 2 Easterling warriors with shield, 2 with pike, and 2 black dragons with pike, and 5 dragon cult acolytes. So I've played, I think it'll be 2 or 3 games against Riley now. I think we've both won 1. I think it's been 2 games, yeah, and he really loves those acolytes. Actually, no, we have played 3 games because Sean, I believe, in the doubles tournament, he ran Armder and pure acolytes, I think.
Yes,
and that was interesting. So
it was something else. Yeah.
It hurt my spiders quite a bit. So instead of relying on that solid pike block, I think he's going for more of a pretty strong center, and it will make. Does the Dragon Emperor make the acolytes fight 5 as well?
Certainly does.
Wow. So that's what he's looking for.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
You'll
I like
see,
that.
There should be a second Easterling list a bit later that's more the conventional pike block, and this list is actually a bit of a surprise for me. I was expecting Riley to bring Eastlings, but I was sort of expecting to bring something a bit more along the vein of that list that I helped the lad with a bit later on. This list is going to hit like a truck.
Riley's the sort of player that if he builds a list, it's going to work.
Yeah.
Like, he probably worked on this list for, a couple of weeks. Like compared to me building my Gondor list, that was literally going, oh, cool, here's a day's worth, or not even a day's, a couple of hours of like, yeah, I've got these models, let's put them in a list. He probably worked on this for a few weeks, sitting down for a fair bit of time to work on it, figure everything out, because he dives in deep with all his lists. But if I was to see this list not being run by Riley, I'd probably play it a different way. But knowing that Riley's built this list and he's running it, I suddenly go, oh, yeah, no, I don't want to face it.
Yeah,
so,
I've seen the alternative, and I still look at this, and you're talking about how many acolytes you got in there? 6. So you're talking over 11. 15 acolytes. So you're talking 2 attacks at fight 5 with a throwing weapon, a 12-inch banner. It's
a lot of dice.
There was a lot of dice getting thrown at a pretty high fight value, and I really like it. I'm looking forward to see how it does.
Yeah, I think it really.
I think.
Sorry, Jarek.
The defense 4 on the acolytes. No, you're right. I think the defense 4 on the acolytes will definitely be interesting, though. And having so many of them, it does open the list up a little bit to shooting, especially something like Sean's list, with even just thinking about that, with all that strength 3 bows and the you could pretty quickly start to get rid of some of that killing power. So, like, obviously Riley's got plenty of defense in front. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's definitely if he doesn't roll well, those guys are going down. But 2 attack infantry backed up by a couple of pikes and a banner, it's going to be tough to get through that. So yeah, interesting list. I'd see how.
The thing to think about too, though, is Riley rolls like an absolute demon with the acolytes. So you've got to consider that. When I played him at BrizCon this year, I had Shelob fighting like 2 acolytes and Sauron fighting 2 acolytes for about 4 turns, and he would roll 6 every time. No banner necessary. So at fight 5 with a banner, with the potential to move pikes, although I feel like it's going to be more pike block hits the front wall and the acolytes trap. And then Fury obviously is going to be there keeping him up as well. A couple saves. Terror's not going to be a problem for him. It's going to be really solid. Surprised that, he went with Armda instead of Ratabi, who fits that block narrative a lot better, but I suppose he wants a cavalry commander. Interesting. Interesting to see how it's going to pan out.
That's exactly what I mean. If I saw this being run by anyone else, I would question it heavily with Amdo being in there. But as I said, with Riley running it, I suddenly go, actually no, Amdo's a really good shout for this list.
He's going to complement all acolytes really well. The only thing though is the might count. With Brogy, he's only got 2 might, I believe, so it's only 8 might in the whole list, which is not heaps. Especially like Amdo has his free strikes. This is true.
Blood and glory, mate. Infinite might, surely.
Surely.
You'd hope so.
Yeah.
Just verse Pat and you'll be right.
Yeah. That's the only weakness I see in this army list. It's got awesome mobility with the drum. He's obviously got the banner with the Emperor covering a 12-inch board, and my games against the Easterlings have been honestly horrible for me. It just controls the entire battlefield. So, you can laugh, Jeff. I haven't fully recovered that wound. I'll carry for the rest of my life. Anyone got any other comments on this list, or we can move on to the next one?
Keep it rolling. Good list.
Keep it rolling. Good list. All right. All right, gamers, coming back to you now with some new technology from the one, the man, the only. I'm sure I could have said that a little bit smoother. Mr. Timothy Tronic. He's surprised everyone, I think, except me this tournament, and he's not taken the same Isengard list. So thank you, Tim. Big round of applause.
Well done, Tim. Congratulations.
Obviously, the world is ending if Tim's not reading Isengard.
I know. It was quite a shock. He got me to print a few Black Numenorians for him, and he was just always like, yeah, you got any more of them Black Numenorians? I got this idea. And I was like, you're just going to run Isengard, mate. What's the problem? And here we are.
He's still got Uruk-hai in his list. He still has Uruk-hai.
Look, baby steps. And he still has the caster, a caster with, some pretty nice spells. So it wasn't a total stray. He hasn't moved too far away from what he's comfortable with, but that's okay. So leading us off, we have the Witch King on armored horse, Crown of Morgul 318-3, a black Numenorian with banner, 4 black Numenorians, a black Numenorian with an axe for some strength for goodness, 5 Brandon Orcs with spear and shield, 2 Blackguards of Barad-dûr, a Mordor Uruk-hai with a shield, Mordor Uruk-hai with an Orc bow, and 2 Orc trackers, and that is Warband 1. Up next, Sean's favourite model in the game, the Shadow Lord, with 4 black Numenorians, 1 with an axe, 5 with shield and spear from Brandon Orcs, 2 Blackguards of Barad-dûr, another Mordor Uruk-hai with shield, another Mordor Uruk-hai with a bow, 1 Orc tracker. So we've seen a few bows. And then the hammer to the anvil, the Mouth of Sauron on armored horse, and 5 Morgul knights, bringing us to 40 models at 800 points, 7 might, 5 bows. And he's even written his little army bonus down the bottom for us in case we've forgotten. Thank you, Tim. So, pretty scary. He's triple caster, front line of terror cavalry, lots of strength 4, some strength 5, just the 1 banner, and a few honesty bows thrown in for good measure.
I really like that. I really like that as a mortal list. Just with the Shadow Lord, the Witch King, and the Mouth of Sauron and all that terror. It's definitely, it's going to be interesting to see how he rolls with it. I think definitely interesting.
The heroes, the list itself, solid, and I think it's going to do fairly well in most matchups. The only thing that worries me slightly is the heroes aren't rock solid. If someone gets stuck in with a big hero, that might have a little bit of trouble with it, but he's got the control there. And he's got the Terror, got the Harbinger, got the Shadow Lord, so he's countering a lot of the existing Queensland meta, in my opinion. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this list goes.
I think it'll struggle with fiefdoms. If there are any fiefdoms players, it will struggle, with anything that's got any fearless, a way to get stuck in, isn't relying on shooting and has a few big heroes in there that can just go, right, what Wraith am I chopping up this turn? Again, though, outside of an Elendil or a Glorfindel, not much is going to be able to resist the barrage that's going to come through.
Yeah,
all that magic.
Triple transfix, Black Dart.
Well, another one to think about is Instill Fear.
Yeah. Instill Fear works a lot better when on a fell beast, being able to pop behind your opponent's line, instilling them towards you to break up their lines, and then you pop in. But Instill Fear is still one of the best spells in the game, hands down. It puts in some work. I'm fairly scared of this list. I'm just so happy I've got nearly 20 bodyguard models in my list.
Yeah, and Fight 5 as well.
And that too. I know for a fact with my list, for example, like my heroes are going to be in lockdown and I will be relying on my base troops to get the job done. The heroes are just there to soak up the magic, really.
Does anyone have anything else to add in?
I'm in danger.
Yeah. I'm scared.
All will be revealed when my list comes up.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Tim. And we're all very proud of you for this departure. What could only be like, this is like a vegan going out and having a steak. Like this is new territory. I've never thought I'd see the day. I honestly thought I would pass away before this had happened. So big thanks, Tim. Big thanks. All right. Fantastic. On to the next list. We've got Mr. Matty B making his return to the Queensland scene. Interesting. We've got some Rivendell. All right.
He's done it. Yes.
He's done it. We've got Sorry. Warband 1. Looks like the leader. We've got Glorfindel, the armor on Asphaleth, 3 Rivendell Knights with shield, 1 Rivendell Knight with shield and banner, 9 High Elf Warriors, 4 with shield, 5 with shield and spear. Nice simple warband to start with. We've got Erestor with 2 Rivendell Knights with shield, 8 more High Elf Warriors, 4 with shields, 4 with shield and spear. And then Gildor the Mad Lad, probably one of my favourite models in the game, 10 Exiles, 4 with spear and the cursed forbidden throwing weapons that shall be not named, 3 bows, 2 throwing daggers, and 1 with a banner and throwing daggers. So lots of cursed war gear that will have to be redacted, unfortunately, from the tournament. But otherwise, thoughts, gents? Thoughts?
I'm real chuffed that he's gone with Erestor and Gildor, because they're models you never see in Rivendell lists anymore. So he's taken the two like lower tier, still good models, still incredible. They get the job done, but these lower tier models, I'm well chuffed that he's gone and done that. It's going to be a fun list to play, and he's still got Glorfindel running around going ham. So
yeah, I'm just looking at his list, and this is the struggle that I have with Rivendell at the moment. He doesn't seem like he's got heaps of models for 800 points, which is okay, but he's also only got 6 might and he doesn't have any. Sorry?
36 models.
Yeah, 36 models, like that's on the shorter side, and he's only got 6 might at 800 points. No terror to sort of control your line, like if you had a Curdan in there or something. Like I like it. I'm keen to see how it goes, but I just think this is a perfect example of Rivendell at the moment and the issues building lists with Rivendell at the moment.
If you don't build Rivendell in one way, they kind of fall short. So if you're not taking Elrond or Gil-galad or Glorfindel, they kind of just start tanking a bit. He's definitely he's put himself in a tough position. It's going to be real challenging, but I really hope this list does well.
Yeah, well, it's cool. I like it. I like seeing Gildor especially.
Yeah, the 6 might's probably the biggest issue, and not having terror. Like if I put this against, say, Tim's list that we've just seen, it kind of, his bows aren't going to do much work. The throwing weapons are going to be in trouble. He's got a bit of maneuverability, though. Those exiles, 8 inches, can get really good traps, and I think maybe that's kind of the plan. Still fight 5 shield wall, can still front to back reasonably well, but I reckon it's going to be pretty glass cannon. And if a few priorities get lost, it could be tough, but I don't mind it. This is the kind of Rivendell list that I'd like to pull out, but maybe throw in a Boromir of Gondor for maximum hand grenade potential.
A bit of might, yeah.
Yeah, and the 6 might probably doesn't go astray.
Yeah, that always helps.
Yeah, it does. It's just the little salt bay on top there.
The cheeky transfixes that might go off with Gildor, that they'll come in clutch. There'll be moments where they'll really, really help out. But you don't want to be running around relying on those transfixes.
He's only got 4 will. It's just like, or 3 will. It's like, it's just, it's like so close to being. Anyway,
that's just you complaining about Rivendell list building
again.
There was a bit of woe is me coming through my.
I think in a vacuum, probably not the most killy elf list in existence, but man, he's got, like you said, he's got the battle line to hold the line, and in this game you can still die and win. You know what I mean? He's got models with high courage and movement. He has the ability to get on objectives and stay on them. So I reckon if he plays it well, this list will do fairly well.
I think I agree with you, Jeff. Like if he plays it well, I think this is a good starting list for him to start out back in the scene and grow from here. And I'd like to see where it goes from here as he adapts to that. So yeah.
All right. Big thanks, Matt. We'll see you there shortly. What have we got next? David, Mr. VK. Denethor's Children, a wish list.
This is my old list. This is my old list.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I wish you Gondor players would just go away.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So we've got Boromir on horse, though, Sean. So clearly not your list. With banner
already lost.
4 Fountain Court Guard with shield, 3 Knights of Minas Tirith with shield, 3 Citadel Guard with longbow, 5 Warriors of Minas Tirith with shield. So pretty solid. Huron the Tall on horse, 4 Fountain Court Guard with shields, 3 Knights of Minas Tirith, and 3 Rangers of Gondor. So it doesn't look like there's any spears on those. Then we've got Ingold with 5 Warriors of Minas Tirith and 6 Rangers with spear. And then, of course, the traditional Avenger Bolt Thrower with Swift Reload. So 42 models, 12 bows, and a bolt thrower, and 12 might, 13 might.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of playing this list probably 4 or 5 times at the club now. Dave really is getting a handle on how it works. And yeah, the thing that might catch people off guard are those ranges. Like you play against the generic Boromir Gondor list, and yeah, if they fight 5 Fountain Court Guard, but a lot of people don't realise the rangers actually get to fight 5 as well. So you charge into what looks like the soft underbelly of his list, and suddenly, oh, hang on, I'm fight 5 there too. So, once again,
They come in real clutch with their spears.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing missing is he should have tried to find points to give those last 3 Rangers of Gondor spears, because Rangers of Gondor, they're always going to sit behind your line, and they're going to shoot as much as they can, and then they'll spear support basically for the rest of the game, and they just give you that fight 5 where it's needed.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it's not a typo. Every time I've played this list, everyone's had spears. So might clarify that with David. I dare say they will have spears, mate. Yeah.
We will investigate that for sure. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same tech we're seeing here. Bolt throwers, fight 5. It's almost like someone's played Gondor and gone, this is it. This is how we do it. No one's breaking the mold.
It's almost as if someone won 2 tournaments with a bolt thrower. Now everyone's taking a bolt thrower.
We've seen.
I don't know who that is, but it was someone for sure.
You
can't get away from them locally, mate. As soon as someone puts Gondor on the table now, you're bursting a bolt thrower. It's good times all around, really.
Love it. That's what I do. I went up to Gladstone just to destroy your meta, and then ran away back to Brisbane. Woo-hoo, no siege weapons down here.
Right, up next, Mr. Liham with a big surprise. Dunland. So we've got in the Legendary Legion, Army of Dunland, Mr. Thryden Chadsbane with a horse with 1 Creebane, 5 Dunlanding Horsemen, Gorolf Ironskin, 5 Dunlanding Warriors with Shield, 6 Huskarls, and 1 Dunlanding Warrior with Shield and Banner. Then we've got Miss Frida with 6 Dunlanding Warriors with Shield, 5 Huskarls, 1 Dunlanding Warrior with Shield and Banner. Dunlanding Chieftain with Shield with 5 Dunlanding Warriors with Bow, and the Wildman Oathmaker with 7 Wildmen and 5 Wildmen with 2-handed axe. And my little comment down the bottom looks like shit. Fantastic. So a little bit of Dunland action. So these guys just took a tournament, I believe, somewhere around the world, just this last weekend.
WinterCon 2022, I think Canberra this weekend just gone. So yeah.
If it's Canberra, it doesn't count because Josh is from there.
It's because Josh is down there, but we love the rest of you Canberras.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. I mean, I feel like Army of Dunland at 800 points, you always end up at that 50-ish model count. Depending on how many Creebane and Horsemen you take, you can almost get to 60, but it feels like whenever I run a list anyway, I always end up just falling short of that mark. So it's outnumbering, I think, every list that we've looked at so far, which is pretty good. No 2-handed weapons on the regular Dunlanding Warriors, just lots of shields, a few honesty bows. And what have we got? 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 might, I believe.
Yes, yeah, it is 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good list. I like how Thryden can be quite maneuverable with his Creebane and his 5 Horsemen. So you can throw him down straight away, and then you can kind of see where the enemy deploys if you go on tit for tat with deployment. And I think having Frida and Gorolf in there, you got your 3 might, you got Wildman, Oathmaker, and the Huskarls and the Wildman. You'd be surprised how much actual bodyguard you have hidden away there. So first impressions was looking at Tim's list. I'm like, I wouldn't want to run into that. And you're like, hang on a second, I've got Wildman there, I've got Huskarls in there, and I've got Banners in there. So you're like, maybe it won't go too bad. So that's my thought on it.
Yeah, okay.
And it's like got one of the better heroes in the game in Gorolf. He goes toe to toe with any hero in the game. He walks in there, calls his free heroic defense, and then just sits there and says, "Your big killing hero. You need to get through me before you do anything. Get those natural 6s." And just the Oathmaker as well. Just the best. Heroic move battery running around, because he's useless everywhere else, but the fact that he's so cheap and he's got 3 might and he makes those Wildmen fearless is phenomenal. Like, you always want to take him, and then he just sits behind your lines and goes, here's a free move, here's a free move, here's a free move, bang, I'll go and run into someone now that I'm useless. I'm just a regular warrior, but he's always worth taking.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it
Looks
just
good
it feels
for a Dunland list.
typical Gondor, not Gondor, typical Dunland Legendary Legion sort of things. The only thing that
Yeah.
surprised me is only one Creebane.
Yeah. Yep. I would have had 2 or 3 because they're just so good for objective play.
Oh, they're really good for bolt throwers too.
Yeah,
doing
That's true.
hitting. So I think that's probably the only thing I would change, but it's still the Legion can, if you get a good turn with that war cry and 3 heroic combats potentially, it can really quick game. Yeah, so
the double 6-inch banner as well is huge.
Yeah,
it's dumb.
It's just,
Dunland's got such a good Legendary Legion now. It's not even funny.
I mean, I think controversial opinion, but because the Huskarls are so expensive for their conditional fight 4, it's probably the only thing that keeps them in line with a lot of the rest of the stuff. As frustrating as it is to play, I think it's the reason that it's not too bullshit and too overpowered, because I think if they were fight 4 all the time, you would just take an entire army of them.
Oh, that's all you'd be running.
Yeah, and with the 6-inch banners, all the might, the fearless guys around you as well, like having a huge model count. And the versatile weapons too, two-handed, similar to the Axeman of Lostnark, having the two-handed weapon or the spear. If you outnumber someone in a fight, all of a sudden you've got 1 dice now at strength 5 plus 1 to wound if he's in base-to-base contact, which can be with the war cry plus 2 to wound. You're wounding an Uruk-hai scout on what? 2s?
Love that.
So you can lose models pretty quickly if they have that.
I have watched this list run into a Balrog list and drop the Balrog in 1 turn. With the war cry being called, and then Thryden. He's got mighty blow as well, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
He loves monsters.
So he just It's just a shame he's so easy to kill.
Yeah. Any last comments from you, Jeff?
Yeah, my condolences for anyone bringing Rohan has to verse Liam.
Well,
good luck.
From my initial inspection, actually, I think this is probably the first WAG tournament that there is no Rohan player. Unless
we've achieved it, guys. I can quit happy.
That's it. A tournament with no Rohan. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, pretty crazy. Back if you think back to the Riders of Theoden era that we went through, and there'd be about 3 at every tournament. It's refreshing. Condolences to our former Messiah, Lachlan Linton Keane. All right. Mr. Sean Kirkby.
This looks familiar.
I hate this list so much. I really do. It's disgusting.
Does he give us the total models, or is he going to make them count up?
It's 102 models.
Jeez.
It's
here I go killing again.
The one challenge that when I met up with down in Brisbane, he was rebasing this army after a bit of an incident with the floods, and he was going, how am I going to go playing this, Cal? I said, oh, how ready are you to move 100 and something models? And he went, nothing better to do, man. Let's do it. So we'll kick it right off. He's got Meriadoc on a pony, shield, 15 Hobbit militia. Peregrine, pony, shield, 14 Tookish hunters, 1 Tookish hunter with a warhorn. Frodo, pony, elven cloak, 12 militia. Paladin Took, 12 Tookish hunters. Wholefoot brace girdle, 12 Hobbit sheriffs. Will Whitfoot with 9 Hobbit militia. Boldo Tallpenny, 9 Hobbit militia. Farmer Tolman Cotton, Farmer Maggot, Gripfang and Wolf, 7 Hobbit militia. Falco Boffin, Gaffer Ganji, 102 models, breakpoints 52, quarter is 5.
One thing is left out there is that 27 bows.
How many bows, sorry?
27.
27 bows.
Yeah.
That is pretty impressive. Yeah, he could have, I think that's probably what he was referring to when he was saying it could be better. Only 27 bows. But importantly, all of these hobbits have throw stones, which importantly are not throwing weapons. So GBH are safe. But the thing that shocks me, right, is with 25 models alive, if he was to run into Stephen's camel list, his quarter point is a higher model count than Steve's starting point, which we'll get to soon. But
It's good.
Models, man.
I've got a few things to say about this list. Is going up against it the past couple of weeks in a bunch of practice games. 16 traps, 16, 18, 16 traps will fuck up any armies, any form of cohesion you think you have on the board. As soon as you come forward, your line breaks apart, and those little fuckers just like zip through, and they get behind your line. They get all through. There's like the hobbits are trapping you. You've got guys stuck in holes. You've got guys in snares. It's disgusting. And then obviously
traps win games, guys.
Traps win games, guys. That's it. And if you're playing any game where you need to break through those hobbits, good luck. There's 102 hobbits. You need to break through there somehow. And every turn you don't kill a hobbit, every turn you win a fight and don't kill a hobbit, that's another hobbit you've got to get through next turn, which slows you down even more. This army will sit there, bog you down. They'll pop up with their ambush strategy to get to the other side of the board. It's filthy. Also, he's got so many one drops that his opponents will always completely deploy their army before he has any war bands on the table. He'll have 2 or 3 single drops, and then he'll have his guys. He goes, "Oh, I'm putting these guys in reserve," and then the entire your entire army's down. And then he goes, "All right, cool. Here's my 102 hobbits." It's filth.
Wow,
It's filth.
Yeah, the good points you brought up. I've only ever seen hobbits spoken about hypothetically, both on Into the West, a little bit on Green Dragon, and I think a battle report here or two on YouTube. But I've never actually seen them on the table before in a full army. So I only know the theoretical, and just having played like against Goblin Town before and just going, I've got to get through all these models. And the game, all of a sudden, it kind of breaks it because it's a game of odds. And when you roll that many dice, you've got that much in your favor, it can just it can slow down. And like he can seriously get on objectives and just play the 2.5 hour time limit, which is generous for a lot of tournaments. They only do 2 hour time limits. So 2.5 hours is probably going to be the only thing working against him. But even then, he's not going to slow play anyone on purpose, but I think it's going to happen. That's also
you've also got to keep in mind with these boys, using weight of dice, as you mentioned before, 27 bows that shoot like elves. They're only strength 2 bows, but if you got 27 and you want to pick out a single target and you've got all of them in range, it's dead. It's cool. I went up against him the other day in retrieval or whatever it was, and very last turn of the game, he needed to kill the guy holding the objective to turn the game from a loss to a draw. And he went, cool, I've still got 18 bows left, everything there. He did 1 wound, which is all he needed, but he had the numbers to do it. It's ridiculous. I despise this list. It's the only fun you'll have out of it is you will kill hobbits. These hobbits are dying, and he sacrifices hobbits like they're made in a farm. It's a lot of fun. I love it and hate it.
It's cool. I'm excited to see like a hobbit, 100 model hobbit list on the table. I don't necessarily want to play against it unless I can start Thranduil right in the middle of it and just be in combat with 50 of them at once. But it's going to be it's cool to see, I guess. Like I don't want to play against it, but we'll see how it goes. Very cool.
All right, Jeff, you got anything you want to say before we start closing up?
Mate, it's a jar of tricks. I think if you have a look at the profile for every single one of those, like your Tookish Hunters through to the Sheriffs, 2 6-inch banners, plenty of bows. He's got a massive amount of tricks, but same thing with all those Hobbit Legendary Legions. There's no massive hitters. So once again, if someone has an army of elite models that gets on a roll, he probably won't be able to pull them up that well. But like Cal said, with that many models and 2.5 hour time frame, you'd probably have some success with this list, I reckon.
And also, we'll probably hopefully do a recap video as well after the tournament. But I believe he's done up a display board for them as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing the pretty colours,
It'll be
basically.
a pretty big display board.
Yeah.
And it's not even going to be labelled. It's just going to be all the bases touching, and it's going to fill up an entire table. So it should be pretty fantastic. Anything from you, Mick?
Nah, I'm good. I don't want to see that anymore. I've had enough already.
We'll get it away from everyone. Sorry, Sean, Mr. K, you've hurt everyone's feelings a little bit there,
Yeah.
I think. All right.
Sean's not here to make friends. He's already said he's going to show up to his games and go, "Sorry, lads, I'm going to be pedantic about everything." And he will. He will.
All right.
Ooh,
So
hello.
the theme of this year seems to be Gondor, but in a departure from the Bolt Thrower Boromir list that I believe we have one more to go of those, we have Rhys, the TO for BrizCon and one of our awesome committee leaders, with this King Elisar led Minas Tirith. So we've got Elisar on horse, 4 Minas Tirith warriors with shield, 8 with shield and spear, 3 warriors of Minas Tirith with bow, shield, and spear to benefit from that shield wall, and 2 rangers of Gondor with spear. And then we've also got Iolas, 5 Citadel Guard with spear swapped for longbow, 5 Citadel Guard. We've got Baragond on horse, 2 Citadel Guard with horse and longbow, Huron on horse, 1 warrior of Minas Tirith with banner, and 5 Fountain Court Guard with shield. So pretty solid.
I'm going to say this list wins the tournament because it doesn't have a bolt thrower.
Yeah, so breath of fresh
Exactly.
air, this one, I feel. Just no Boromir, no bolt thrower. My God.
Yeah. So it looks
Complete
like
other side of the meta. I like it.
I was under the impression, I'm pretty sure one of the new fellows we've got coming might be running LSR too. And I thought he would have been unique in being the only LSR list, but I could be wrong. So yeah, I'm very keen to see how this list goes. Anything with Aragon in it, I absolutely love. So hopefully he has a bit of success with it.
yeah, so it ends up coming into 39 models and 10 plus Infinity Might. So yeah, no, not bad. It's kind of a lot of the lists are hitting that 40 or 102 model count this year, whereas previously a few people have run some pretty elite armies. I think there's only been 1 or 2 lists so far that are just sitting underneath that 40 model count, which is considered competitive 800-point lists. So interesting. Yeah, no siege engines. And it's kind of curious. He's got no Knights of Minas Tirith in there, if I'm not wrong. No.
I'll be honest. I don't think that's a big loss though.
No, without Boromir, I don't think that.
Personally, I think Knights of Minas Tirith they only really work if you're in his banner. Fight 3 cav it just doesn't cut it. Yes, you get those 2 attacks charging in, but yeah, fight 3 cav doesn't cut it. So I think he's done well to just go for that pure shield wall and allow Aragon on his horse to do the job of what a couple of knights would have done instead.
Plus he's got Huron, so
And
Yeah.
Huron as well.
yeah.
I will respect.
Huron does have a horse. Huron is one of the
no,
only
no.
heroes in the game that I will say must be on a horse.
I rate Knights of Minas Tirith greatly, so it's the one thing I think it would have benefited from having 3 or 4 in there. I understand he's got the guys on horse with longbow for objectives, which I've used in my Minas Tirith plenty of times, but I've had a lot of success running Aragon with 6 Knights of Minas Tirith because you are guaranteeing to bait might out of your opponent with heroic moves. Because if you've got 6 cav with lances, which, the only hitters of the 2 mounted heroes, Aragon, fantastic, Huron as well, +1 to wound, strength 4, awesome. But if you had 6 knights or 4 knights, a couple of knights with that, you set up on a flank position and you go, okay, I've just 1 priority, what do you want to do? And if you run into a low might list, you are going to put so much pressure on them early, especially if you play that 7-inch line game really well and you play the maneuverability really good, you can just bait might out of them and really take it out of them. That's the main value I see for it, as well as models to stop Aragon getting trapped if he needs to get aggressive because he's falling behind and stuff like that. So I really think Knights of Minas Tirith is probably what's lacking. But overall, really nice to see a King Elisar list, and I think it's pretty solid otherwise. Rhys is a good general, so I'm surprised no Sauron, Rhys. would have thought you would have taken up that mantle for me, but that's okay. Thoughts?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. I think, it's definitely not the conventional competitive way to play Gondor, so it'll be cool to see how it rolls
Rhys
out.
is notorious for not running conventionally competitive armies and getting the best out of them. Like, you look at that army that he took to one of those Toowoomba tournaments. I remember walking in, looking at it, going, "Oh yeah, breezy. I'll take it on." And then I think he came third or something with it. And it was just like a couple of wargs and a couple of ring race, and you're like, "All right, he's done well with it." So I think he had.
Yeah, it just shows that in this game you don't need to have the, if you're a good general, you can win with pretty much anything. So yeah,
anything except ruffians.
Well, what's wrong with ruffians?
Controversial take.
Well, yeah. The only thing ruffians are good for is setting terrain on fire. I enjoy watching ruffians walk into a piece of terrain that's got an objective in it, especially in capture and control. They go and touch it. They set that piece of terrain on fire, run out, and then say, "All right, opponent, go on, run in there, go and take some strength 9 hits to go and claim that objective." It's beautiful.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that mechanic. Interesting. I might have to pull out some ruffians. That sounds right up my alley.
You can only do it once per game, but it's enough to do a job.
You had me so excited for some new tech with wow. Is that in the Legendary Legion?
No, it's just one of the ruffian heroes. I can't remember which one. Just has that ability.
Well, I think we're getting
plus he sets terrain on fire.
Talking about ruffians. Thank you very much, Rhys. Unless anyone else, Mick, you're our resident Gondor player. Have you got anything to add?
No, I think it's I think he's got the Huron Aragorn combo there. Definitely he's got some bows, he's got a smattering of Fight 4 everywhere, Citadel Guard, so it's definitely a solid list. I think he's going to expect Aragorn to do a lot of the heavy lifting and a lot of the killing while everyone else holds the line and does a bit of shooting. So I'd like to see how this comes out over the weekend in closing. So good luck to him, eh?
Yeah, all right. Let's see what is on the menu next. We have got Mr. Aiden Duncan with some pure filth.
Ooh.
We have got some army of Thror.
Yeah.
Right, I'll take us through it. We've got Thror with his traditional equipment, 18 Kingsguard. You know what they do, the Grimhammers with strength 4. We've got Thrain, and he is leading 7 warriors of Erebor with shield and spear, a warrior of Erebor with shield and spear and banner, and then 7 warriors of Erebor with looks like no other equipment. Maybe there were supposed to be shields there. We'll have to follow up with Aiden for that one. And Captain of Erebor with a shield, and then we've got 10 warriors of Erebor with shield and spear, and 2 warriors of Erebor with shield. So 45 models.
All D7.
Oh, sorry, 48 models it'll be.
Yeah, all D7. This is beautiful. I've been running a similar list recently, just with Thorin instead of the Captain of Erebor. So it's the grandfather, father, and son. At 45 models, you just D7 just running forward. It's scary. I like the captain because of the march. This list, I'm not a big advocate for march, but this list needs march.
Yeah, dwarves have that issue with being outmaneuvered in scenarios that dictate it. Otherwise, they don't mind just taking a few turns. But the thing is, 48 models of D7 plus is just like, I think the armies I run and strength 4 is normally your caveat for getting through something that's tougher.
Doesn't matter.
Where no, you're not getting. If you're Khazad-dum, you go for the Iron Guard and you go for the Rangers to get the model camp close to break, and then it's a bit easier. You get board space back, but this is just going to be, how many 6s would you like to roll? It's also Fight 4 everywhere. He's also got the banner and 18 cursed throwing weapons as well, which, gee.
It's interesting, though, because in the army bonus is that Thror counts as a banner within 6 inches. So he's spent another 35 points on the banner, and maybe he could have used those points elsewhere. But I guess, I don't think it doesn't count towards the banner for DP. So maybe that's the route he's going, and he's still got 48 defense 7 plus models. So,
I
but
think
yeah,
warband sizes probably left him with an awkward amount of points, and the banner is probably the easiest way to
but
fill
you
that.
could use that.
Yeah.
Could they
I've
use
also
that
found
35
with
points?
this list, not having that second banner is a bit rough. So I do like that inclusion of that second banner, just so that he can split up that force, let Thror do what Thror needs to do, and have a banner on the other side of the flank or wherever it needs to be. I think it's a good shout, that actually.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, Sean. Like, I usually play a lot of Horde armies because that's my kind of play style. I don't like to play that elite, so I can have chaff to throw away. And I really struggle. It's like you get up to that 40, 45, 50 models at 800 points. And you're like, gee, I wish I had another banner. I'm just like, well, if I have another banner, that's 5 guys I got to drop. And it's always that conundrum. So I think it really suits itself having that banner in this list, plus then having Thror in there to actually count as that banner as well. So I think that's a really good cover of area to get your guys getting that reroll.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big defense 7 wall, so it's going to be cool.
Yeah,
Jeff,
probably-
I believe you've played into a list close resembling this for our elimination event that we
I've
did.
actually seen this 800-point list at the club a couple of times, and we had a bit of an in-house tournament where he ran, the same bloke ran Army of Thor at 600 points. When he said he was running Army of Thor, I thought, 20 dwarves at 600 points shouldn't be too bad to deal with. Rocked in with something like 35 dwarves with, 3 heroes, just filth. This list will work really well. He'll have bad matchups. Anything that has a bit of killing power, dwarves generally don't like, and high fight. But one thing that Aiden is the master of is the two-handed bash, or just the normal bash. If you've got a big hero on a horse and he manages to win a fight against it, that guy's no longer on his horse. He's a pretty big proponent of the special strikes. So it'd be very interesting to see how he goes over the course of the weekend.
Well, that's it. Like every single model here has an axe. So anywhere that he has a favorable fight, I think he will go for that strength 4. And then all of a sudden, that's the hitting power that this list typically, quote unquote, lacks. I mean, you still got Grimhammers there as well. But
strength 5 Grimhammers as well. Or strength 4 up to strength 5 with their pick hammer.
Yeah.
They'll get through most.
Yeah, wow.
I've played this list at 600. And I've run Serpent, Horde, and Camels into it, and they're usually pretty known for a pretty killy list. And I just bounced straight off it and just died. So this is definitely one of my favorites going into the tournament going here. I know Aiden's a bit of a new player, but he's very savvy. With a bit of practice, he could be a phenomenal player. I'd like to see him play a bit more, and I think he'd be definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I'm not scared if I have to play with my TO list to run into this, but I think anyone running a traditional army will be you're not going to be able to play back game at all.
I hope I get to verse this. I really do.
Yeah, me too. I've played into this before, and I've
both of you guys have disgusting tech though, with Sean with your double 7 bolt thrower, which will melt that like butter.
Wounding on 4s, let's go.
Plus 1 to wound. So, I think most people, I will quote unquote, will have a lot of trouble getting through this. Like anyone who is relying on strength 4 or is relying on
their fight 4 even.
Fight 4. We're using Tim as the metric with his list. So I struggle to see how Tim is going to be able to deal with this. It's going to be, pretty hard to get through.
Yeah, this army, these models in this army don't care if they lose a fight. The chances of them dying are fairly low. So they just they wait until they win the fight and go, all right, cool. Now I'm killing. I'm excited to see this run. I almost took this list instead of Gondor this year, or something similar to this, just because it's disgustingly good.
Yeah, wow.
Good.
Okay. Any remarks from anybody else?
I think that's it.
All right. Okay. Up next, we've got Dylon Hopkins. Now, Dylon's brought some new tech today. Not his Angmar, not his fiefdoms, but he is bringing the filthy assault on Lothlorien Legendary Legion. So we've got Musgur with 13 orcs with shields, 2 orcs with banner, so double banner straight up in the first warband. Druzag with 12 wild wargs, Goblin Captain with a bat swarm, 10 goblins with bows, 1 wild warg, Goblin Captain, 9 goblins with bows, 1 wild warg, Goblin Shaman, 12 goblins with spears, Goblin Captain, 7 prowlers, and 3 goblins with spears. Do shamans get an additional 6 slots in this Legendary Legion?
Yes, they go up to Fortitude.
Okay, cool. Just checking, because I was about to go, we have an illegal list.
Called to it.
So 77 models, 19 bows, and I believe these are at +1 to wound because of the nighttime shenanigans.
Yes. And then prowlers with their, throwing weapons.
Yeah, we've only got, you can't say that word, Sean. We've only got 6 in this list.
Banned.
So,
wow. Okay, I'm surprised by that. All right, Dylan. You do you, man. You don't want +3 to wound? That's fine.
Yeah, wow. But still, even though it is goblins, this is like the traditional goblin horde list that you would think that Moria would do. But he's got, the wild wargs there that are going to benefit from Fury, from Druzag. So, and then the goblin shaman to give Fury to all the goblins as well. Lots of spears. And I guess that's where his strength 4 is coming from as well, all those wild wargs. So that's pretty cool. I don't mind the list. I think it will struggle against, obviously, a big hero sort of list like a Boromir or an Aragon, which we're going to see a lot of. But even then, enough bows at it at +1 to wound could be bad. Could be bad. Has anyone played?
This is one of those lists. No, I haven't seen it played, and it's really interested to see it because it's one of the ones that I think when the book came out that I was really worried about, sort of being like almost, busted per se. But it doesn't have a big hero, and so when they're still goblins, so I think once you get stuck into them, they'll probably melt pretty quickly.
Going up against this, it doesn't need a big hero. I think he is missing the trick though, not bringing a wild warg chieftain. Because that turns into a big hitter, especially with is it Druzag who does the enraged beast?
Yeah.
He doesn't really have much here to use his enraged beast on. Yes, he's got wargs, but is that worth it? Who knows? It's handy to truck enraged beast on a bat swarm, which I think he has one.
Yeah, he's got one.
He does, yeah. So that's handy, but I think he's missing the trick not bringing that wild warg chieftain. Though this is still a nasty list to run into. As soon as he gets those orcs in with the goblins, +1 to wound, it's rough. If they win a fight, they're likely going to kill you. Especially once he's only got 7 prowlers, he probably could have used more, but he can run in with prowlers. Let's say he shows up against a Sauron or something. He's wounding Sauron on 3s by 3s.
So do you get the additional to wound in combat as well? How does that work?
So they, if there's orcs in there, they get that +1 to wound. Then they've got backstabber +1 to wound.
Outnumber, I think it is. Sure.
Pardon?
So it's when they outnumber in a fight in that.
Outnumber. Sorry. Not. It's not like animosity. Sorry. No. I wish it was though.
Yeah.
So when they outnumber, they've got backstabber. So when they're trapping, and they got
two-handed axe.
Two-handed axe.
Okay.
So there's the +3 to wound.
And
so it doesn't have the big. Yeah, that too. Yeah. It doesn't have the big heroes, but it's got a fair decent amount of magic to lock down heroes, those big hitting heroes if need be.
Yeah.
So this list is going to put in work. It's going to. I hope he pilots it well because this list is going to need a very good pilot.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think I've looked at with Assault on Lothlorien is it's one of those lists that it could do really well, but it also can be a pretty middling list. It just depends on the player. But Dylan's done pretty well in the past, so
you're relying on goblins at the end of the day to get a lot of the work done. So that fight value of 2 and 3 and all the rest is going to be a problem. But it's still a lot of models. Like I think if this ran into Sean's list, it would counter it really hard. Sean K's list with the hobbits because the model count's pretty similar. Sean can't shoot back. Like it would be pretty impressive.
You can shoot back within 12 inches. But
within, they considered 18. Wound on hobbits is going to be 4s. That's going to be, 5 or 6 hobbits dead a turn. Do that for a few turns, make the hobbits move, and then it's go time as well. Double banner, which I like with the big army. So awesome for that. And then still the strength 4, the wargs for objectives, the bat swarm for when that Aragon decides he's going to dive bomb in and go for leader kill or something like that. I'm yet to see it, so I can't really say too much. But wow,
just finishing up, I reckon it'd be nice to see this army versus the hobbits. So it'd be like a match.
Let's sign it up. Let's set it up. Grudge match round 1
on their behalves.
I'll have a word to the TO and make that happen. Mate.
Probably the only thing I think it's a solid list and he'll do quite well with it. But I really want to see that list run with the venom back spiders. You've got the mechanic now to stop them getting shot out, which was traditionally one of their big weaknesses. You've got a spider model re-rolling at fight 4 with 2 attacks at strength 5, re-rolling all wound rolls. They can move into combat essentially before you get a chance to shoot it. So I'd love to see this list with those spiders at some stage as well. But I think this list will still do well. But yeah, like I said, the spiders and the wild warg chieftain, they're probably 2 parts that I would like to see included at some stage. But see how he goes.
Yeah.
I forgot you could take spiders with this. Yeah.
Not just spiders, venom back spiders.
Bring them in, man.
What's his name?
Bring them in.
Yeah.
I do think this might be a case of not having all the models necessary.
Yeah. Yep.
Moving on, we've got a double header. We've got one of our very own on the call here, Mr. Jarek. Want to take us through your list, mate? Seeing as I've been doing a lot of talking.
Yeah, I can. So this list is Thranduil's Halls. Obviously, that's what I've been sticking to this year, which has been interesting. So I've got Thranduil on foot. He's got the sword, the circlet, and the heavy armor. He's got, I hate Battlescribe, but I've lost my access to free Excel. So I've got 6 elves with shield. Then I've got 1 with banner and shield. I've got 6 with elf bow and glaive. And then I've got 4 palace guard with shield and spear. And then I've got a sentinel. My second warband is a palace guard captain, and he's got the shield. I've got 2 Mirkwood elves with glaives and elf bow, and then I've got 5 with shield. And then my third warband is Tariel, the best character ever to portray to be in any Tolkien writings or movies. And she's got the bow, and she's got 7 with shield, 4 with glaive and bow, and then a single elf with glaive. So the idea with this list is obviously Thranduil and a couple of the palace guard captain, and they sort of bubble up. And I've got more shields than I need, and basically anyone who's not within the +1 to wound bubble, they just shield and buy time while the +1 to wound bubble just kills everything. And then Tariel kind of plays that blocker role to stop anyone sort of trying to stop. So that's basically the basic premise of it. It's pretty simple, but it's been pretty effective recently. So that's my Thranduil's Halls list.
Interesting. No, I say interesting. I haven't seen you do it at all, but no Mirkwood cavalry.
Yeah.
I just like I used to take a couple of them every now and then, but I'm trying to get to that. Like I've got 41 models or something at 800 points. They're all fight 5. Some of them fight 6.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to put like 40 fight 5 elves on the table and be like, okay, you've got 46 Gondorians. Well, I have 41 elves, and they +1 to wound, and they cause terror.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That is completely fair.
Yeah.
That's
sort of the idea of it.
So I share the same sentiment with Sean, though, just not having any Mirkwood cavalry at all, like not even the one. And I know something new as well for you not taking the elk on Thranduil as well. But I guess it's a different play style. But hitting that 40 model count with elves as well, with +1 to wound. The only thing would be shooting. How many bows have you got? 13 bows still on the list. plus barrier. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, still solid.
I
I found I found with the lack of horses, for objectives, but I found like the games I've played, even the objective games, generally I can punch a hole in the middle of the enemy pretty quickly that I can just run a couple of models to the objectives or around the flanks because they send everything to stop Thranduil that I then end up with a couple of models on each flank that go, okay, well, I'm just going to go for those objectives.
I'm also a big advocate just in general for like the idea that deployment is one of the most important aspects of the game.
Yeah.
And if you deploy properly, it doesn't matter if you have or not, if you have march or not, whatever, you're able to get yourself, if you deploy properly and move properly, you're able to get yourself to those locations you need to be by the time the game ends. So like, it is interesting that you don't have any of like even one horse, like, but at the same time, fair enough. Like it's not necessary. And if you're a good enough player, and you definitely are, you don't need that movement, like just baked into a model's profile. You'd be able to do it just through your own ability.
On the movement side of things, like we sort of developed this list from what Jarek run traditionally was that elk and a couple of horsemen and whatnot. The basis of this list is you've got that absolute death ball bubble that will take all comers with a +1 to wound, probably reduce their numbers. But the idea is you keep an idea on, like, keep track of how many models you've killed, how many to break, how many to quarter. And then nearly every model in this army is armed with a shield or a glaive, and they can all shield. So you don't have to do any lethal strikes across the army. So you can just run in, kill what you need to kill, get them close to break, shield across the board, get to the objectives, and then turn it back on again, So it's, even though it doesn't have the mobility, it's got the tools to stop the game ending before it's ready for it to end.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Solid. Well, again, I would love to play this with my TO list. I'm excited to see what Jarek can do.
I'll come at you, mate. I'll come at you. Whatever.
All right, very good. We'll do that as the last list to review, I think. A lot of fun. So, Dave, coming in with some Khazad-dum. I can take this one on. So, we've got Durin doing his thing. We've got 4 dwarf rangers with throwing axes and longbows. We've got 6 dwarf warriors with shields, 4 iron guard, and we've got 4 hearth guard. We've got a dwarf king with 7 dwarf warriors with shield, king's champion, of course, and then we've got 3 rangers with longbow throwing axes, 7 more dwarf warriors with shield, and then we have, of course, a dwarf ballista. So
another bolt thrower, sick.
This is a ballista, not a bolt thrower, Sean. Important. different
balls.
40 model count. Yeah, so it looks like it's going Khazad-dum, but relying more on the shooting side of it rather than, say, the Hearthguard bubble that you would typically do with Durin.
It's more, I think, availability of models than anything. It's just sort of I think obviously the real way to do that is go 18 Hearthguard with Durin. Not Durin.
Durin, yeah.
Just with the availability of models. That's what he's sort of got. But yeah, he's a new player, so it's cool to see some new players getting stuck in. And, obviously still got Durin, the King's champion, that can do some work.
Yeah, also a dwarf king. Don't knock back a dwarf king. They're cheeky. They're fight 6, 2 attacks. They're cheap as chips as well.
Yeah,
they'll put in work. So, although comparing this to, say, the Army of Thror list, like 2 different dwarf lists. I understand there's obviously the availability of models, but if you compare it to that Army of Thror list, you kind of go, oh yeah, Army of Thror tips this a fair bit.
Yeah, but with the ballista, you could definitely put some hurt on. If you get a lucky hit on Thror, then it could crumble pretty quickly.
As you guys say, the great equalizer, I reckon in this list, it's that ballista. And like even if that ballista doesn't kill anything, the board control that it does offer will be enough to make its points back and potentially win your games.
Yeah,
I definitely agree that having those blisters or those bolt throwers are really good at controlling lanes, especially if there's some line of sight blocking terrain. where you kind of got the enemy has to funnel through. So it can be really stressful and put your opponent off just psychologically to go down that lane. And sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and do it. So I think it's a really good addition just to throw in there. And when you get there, you've got 20, 30 dwarves just defense 7 sitting there ready to whack you. So I think just gives you something for your army to pivot off, which I think is really, really handy for dwarves.
100%, very important. All right. Cool. Well, welcome, David, to your first MESBG tournament, and we hope to see you do very well. All right, fellas. So up next, we've got Jakob. He's one of the juniors at our club here in Gladstone, and he is bringing some Azogs Legion and Azogs Hunters. So, Jeff, I believe this is your tech that you've been working on with him. So do you want to walk us through it?
Yeah, mate. So this is, I've sort of wanted to take Hunters Legion to a tournament for a while, and if I ever did, I would probably take this list. I've actually run it on channel Last Alliance of Noobs and Men once against Dale, this exact list. So Sean knows this list and knows how it works. So
Hurts my soul.
Yeah, mate, let's start with the Azogs Legion part. We'll come back up to the Hunters, if that's all right.
Yeah, no dramas.
So we've got Bolg with a Felwarg, leading 8 Gundabad Orcs with shield, 3 with spear shield, 1 with banner shield, and 1 Gundabad Troll with the gauntlets. Warband 2, we've got a Gundabad Captain with the shield, 6 Gundabad Orcs with shield and spear. I bugged that a little bit up, sorry. And no, I didn't. I'll have to fix that. So Gundabad Orc Captain with shield, 6 Gundabad Orc Warriors with shield, 5 Gundabad Orc Warriors with spear and shield, and an ogre. And then in the Azog Hunter contingent, we've got Fimble the Hunter, and he's leading 5 Hunter Orcs with 2-handed pick and 5 Hunter Orcs with bow. Punchy little list. Obviously, Bolg gets Master of Battle plus his inherent special rules. So Bolg's doing a truckload of work. The Trolls fight 7. It's doing a truckload of work. You've got a fight 5 Ogre with 3 attacks in the Captain's Warband. And then you've got Fimble, another fight 5, 2 attack, 3 on the Charge Striker. So this list absolutely punches. It's only fight 3 on its troops, which can hurt a little bit, but if you have a bad turn or two, this list will capitalize on that, and whatever combats it win, it generally kills those models. So, if Jacob gets on a roll, a lot of people will struggle to pull him up.
That troll scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, the Troll's going to really hurt some formations, especially when you've got Bolg kicking around going, I dare you to charge it, I will combat into you. And just the threat of Bolg getting that 10 kill streak, getting the free might. You've still got Fimble. Is he the one with the lance as well?
No lance. But he's fight 5. The guy with the lance is only fight 4. So the idea is you have a fight 5 striker just as a backup in case Bolg does meet his end. Lucky enough to watch a practice game yesterday between this and Jarek's competitive Halls of Thranduil list, and there was just a moment there, and this is what the list does, where Jarek had Thranduil into the Troll and a fight 7 Pelasgard Captain into Bolg. So it was like this duke off of who's going to strike first, but because Bolg's defense 7, he wasn't going to strike, but Jarek wanted to strike on the Troll to make sure that Thranduil won that combat, otherwise Thranduil probably dies. So he calls a strike with Thranduil. Bolg gets the Master of Battle, so now he's higher fight than the bloody Pelasgard Captain, So there's just these little synergies between Bolg and that Troll, and if Jacob plays it right, he can really set some stuff up with those two.
Yeah,
I hated Bolg in that game. I hated Bolg so much.
That is pretty next level. I really like this. I'm a big fan of Azog, but every time I've tried to run Legion, I just roll 3 high with Azog, and he doesn't do what he needs to do. And I think this has got the threat.
That's all he does. That's all he needs to kill heroes, mate. 3+.
But I've got to win the fight first, Sean. You're missing that part. I played into Jeff's Easterlings Legion, and Azog did not win a single combat in the entire game. Yeah, so I like the fact it doesn't have Azog, but still Ogre, the Gundabad Troll with the gauntlets, Bolg, and Fimble as well, which I believe he can charge through terrain. He has fleet foot, I believe, on his warg.
Certainly does, yeah.
Yeah, what I was thinking of. It's going to put some pressure on some elves if they get caught in a tree line somewhere. Maybe some Noldorian exiles in for a bad time. But no, very interesting to see how the young fella goes list. So very cool. We'll go.
Why does Bolg have Master of Battle?
It's the
Why
army
is he
bonus,
smart?
mate. You can't take the army bonus.
Don't question it, mate. It doesn't make sense.
Why has he fight 7? Why has he got Master of Battle?
Why
Strength
can
of
he get
all the
mighty
books are
heroes?
overpowered.
Like,
He
yeah,
agrees.
Disgusting.
He's exactly where he
Say
needs
that
to be,
again.
perfectly balanced.
He's perfectly balanced. Oh,
All right.
Bolg and Azog, my 2 most hated heroes in this game.
So up next, we've got Saxon Allen, which is Riley's brother, and he's an Army of Gothmog Legendary Legion. So this will be, I think, the first time I've seen this at a tournament in a little while. It always looks pretty good on paper, and there's a few Gondor man armies kicking around too. So that +1 to wound, I think, if he gets a right run, it could be pretty savage. I'm pretty actually excited to see how this goes. So we've got Gothmog on Wild with a shield, Moran Orc with banner, spear and shield, Moran Orc with shield and spear, and 7 Orcs with shield. So 4 warband there. Guritz, another banner with a shield and spear, 4 Moran Orcs with shield and spear, 4 Moran Orcs with shield. Goroth, 4 Moran Orcs with shield and spear, 3 Moran Orcs with shield. Zagdush, 4 Moran Orcs with shield and spear, 3 Moran Orcs with shield. We've got Orc Taskmaster with 5 Orc Warriors with bows. So 48 total units. We've got 5 bows in there. We've got a truckload of might and Master of Battle. It's 13 might. He's got the Taskmaster and Master of Battle. So he's looking to move first every single turn, I think. And it's still 48 models at strength 4. The only list that I think he'll have a really flat out bad matchup at what we've seen so far is that dwarf list. This is exactly what I was talking about with Aiden's list, that if something like this that relies on the strength 4 runs into, it's gonna be rough. But any other man matchup, oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Tim's list will probably hurt it because Tim's got the Harbinger and a lot of terror, and he doesn't have any fury, so it's going to be courage 1. Yeah. So anything with terror is probably going to. Yeah.
I totally agree with you there. Like, this is a solid list. Like, solid boys, solid heroes, heaps of numbers. But just going into Tim's terror, I think he's going to struggle with that. I think that's probably one of the only bad matchup. The good matchups, if you're a man player this weekend, you'd be wanting to watch out for this army list because it's going to beat you pretty hard.
I am excited to go up against this list.
I
hope I get to play this list.
I want to see Azogs Legion versus this for the Master of Battle standoff of the century.
Absolutely. I'm surprised no catapult. Normally the catapult comes out with the Legion, but I think the numbers is what he was going for here. So
I can confirm that it's the numbers he was going for because he went and bought 2 boxes of the Palinor Field set. I think he has a total of 70-something Moran and Orcs floating around at home. So I can confirm he was just like, I want spam Moran and Orcs, and he's done it.
What is the model count, Kel?
Pardon?
What is the model count for this army, Kel? I missed that part.
48.
50 D6 strength 4 models. That's, I like that.
Yeah.
It's still, like, despite the fight 3, it's still going to be like, okay, we're front to backing. Cool. No worries. And unless it runs into that defense 7 or the terror, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Tim's is the only terror army we have seen as of yet.
So far,
Mirkwood
yes.
Elves have terror.
And the Mirkwood Elves. So we have so far also list we've reviewed 2 terror armies. Normally it's way more prevalent. So I think looking at the run,
I'm surprised how little magic there's been.
there's been a few, but
Lothlorien and Mordor,
yeah, it's been pretty light on. So that's pretty interesting. Well, this will be the first time I think Saxon's coming down to Gladstone to play. So down or up rather. I'm terrible at geography. Awesome. Thank you very much. And we will roll on. So up next, we've got Mr. Patrick Matriga. Totally almost didn't forget is the name of it. He's notorious for forgetting everything, so that's okay. I'll run through this one, and I've played against Pat a few times now, and geez, yeah. Anyway, so we've got Bard the Bowman, Horse and Armor, Sigurd and Tilda, Alfred, 6 Militia with Shield, 6 Militia with Shield and Spear. Got Percy, 7 Laketown Militia with Bow, 3 Laketown Militia with Bow and Spear. Bilbo, so he will have the ring, importantly. 5 Laketown Militia with shield, 5 Laketown Militia with shield and spear, another Laketown Militia captain with shield, 4 Laketown Militia with shield, 5 Laketown Militia with shield and spear, and the icing on top, Thorin on Wargoat. Now, I played against this with my 50 model count Barra duelist a few months ago, and it heroic combated me in about 3 turns to death. I took the ring off Bilbo, but Bilbo is still a 3 might point striker in this list. Percy has 3 points of might. Bard has 6 points of might, potentially with Alfred, 3 heroic combats, fight 6, banner, +1 courage. It just goes nuts. Also, Thorin with his 3 heroic combats. There were 2 turns in a row where Thorin killed 8 models in a single turn. And yeah, it was bonkers, and it just killed me. And I had terror. I had everything I thought I could do to hold him up, and it bled right through me. Sauron was untouched, but the rest of the army just fell apart. So any defense 5 armies, and even defense 6 will really feel the pain on this one, because those 2 heroes with their heroic combats will just be nasty, just so nasty.
I went up against him at the last tournament up in Gladdy, where he took a very similar list, except no Thorin. He had Thranduil and a bunch of elves, which I thought was scary enough. But then when he came to me the other week, he's like, I need to change it up. I can't take the elves. What do I do with that there? And it's like, Thorin on Goat. A couple of weeks. When was BrizCon? Whenever that happened. And brought Thorin on Goat, and immediately it was like, yes, that's the list. That's the way it's going to play. I went from not being scared of this list to being fucking terrified. And the model that scares me the most, though, is Bilbo Baggins.
Yes.
That little chuckle fuck messes you up. He's incredible. The ability to just pop behind a line or get to a position where he needs to be because he's got the ring on, lower your fight value, and obviously he's got that the might and strike with him as well. It's just I'm scared of this.
Yeah, and importantly, I believe young Bilbo here doesn't suffer the negatives of the ring having to do.
No, he does not.
So he's got a reliable ring user. He's got a gazillion might with gazillion heroic combats, total control over the movement phase, as well as plenty of shooting. And for some reason, Laketown Militia defense 5 with shields, which I will never understand.
He almost took Gandalf instead of Bilbo, and I regret telling him to take Bilbo instead of Gandalf.
It's Laketown. They've taken out a lot of tournaments just over the last year
or so,
and they're just phenomenal. The heroes just do so much. There's so many little synergies that are so hard to deal with, and a lot of armies
they're just so good.
They've only got 1 or 2 tricks. This has just got 100. So I think he's in probably a pretty good position to potentially win. He's obviously a very good general as well. So I'm excited to see him on his new display board representing his Laketown. So it should be really cool. Does anybody else have any thoughts for this one?
I saw last year, I think you played him. We had the Thranduil as opposed to Thorin on Wargoat. I think that's a huge change. I think the inclusion of a ring bearer and 2 fight 6 models that are hitty, that can call 3 heroic combats every turn. No heroes safe, no infantry is safe. I think, that's as nice as Thranduil is. I think this guy complements the list a lot better. So, very interested to see what he can do with it.
100%. All right. Well, thank you, Pat. Thank you for not forgetting.
Why are fishermen so good?
Well, if you've ever been fishing, you'd know that it just sorts you out. No?
It's a tough industry, that one, those fishmongers.
They've got it.
Wouldn't want to see them in a dark alley.
All right. So we've got 3 lists here from Mr. Michael Stewart, from 2 new players and then Michael Stewart himself. So we've got Gondor in 60 seconds, a fantastic little meme. And this is Michael's list. So, Stewie, are you able to run us through this one?
Yeah, mate. I can't really remember it too well. I was very late last night putting it together, but the the guy's name that's actually running it is Michael Elisar. So, of course, he has to take Aragon, King Elisar to the list. He did have the option of Boromir, but we kind of shoehorned him into the Aragon. So his name matches up. We're going to go for it. So just the basic list. He's a pretty new player. He's only played a couple of games, just introducing him into the tournament. So just something all around just to get him some games under his belt, go to a tournament, play some games with some others that haven't played so much. So I've got Aragons on a horse there with that's armored. I've got just your standard Fountain Guard Court, some Warriors of Minas Tirith, which is some shields for a bit of a front line there as well. Can't remember what else I put in there. Sorry, I probably should have put it in a better format for you.
Right.
I've got Huron in there just to get that synergy with no leader kill. If you kill Aragon and Huron's still alive, you don't get the victory points for that. And Huron is an absolute beat stick. I did give him a few knights just to throw there. So I give him a bit of everything. So I've got a front line with Aragon. I've got some cav with Huron. I think I did throw a bolt thrower in there just to give him something else. And I did put Ingold in there just to help out, hold that front line in there. And hopefully Aragon does a bit of work. That was my plan with that. There's quite a few models in there. I can't think off the top of my head, but it's definitely a solid list for someone who's about to start his venture into Middle Earth.
Yeah, so it's going to be 39 models in the army. It's got 8 bodyguard models or so. You've got shield wall. You've got the bolt thrower. The 6 knights with Huron and Aragon, which is what I was talking about with the other LSR list, Rhys's list. This is very similar to my Crusader Minas Tirith list that I was running back when the new edition launched, except instead of the bolt thrower, I had the trebuchet. And even though you've got that lower model count, the combination of a few knights with Aragon and a siege weapon making the enemy think twice about their positioning and spreading out, it doesn't matter that they're fight 3. They're fighting one-on-one, and most people will shield into that, or they will fight at less dice, and you tend to see Knights of Minas Tirith all of a sudden do damage. And I've seen it. I believe, Jarek, I broke you in the first turn of combat when we played, when I used this list, or last. Like, it can... you get
Aragon counts with that banner as well, so...
Yeah, so you've got a lot of power there. Fight 4. Probably would have liked to have seen a few bows in there, would have been nice, but Ingold with the shield ball is going to be a big defense 7 block, the fight 4 block on the other side, and you've got the hammer unit as well, Huron, potentially removing 6 or 7 models a turn with 2 heroic combats. I like it. This is my style of Minas Tirith list, not the so typical, so should be good. Hopefully Mr. Elisar lives up to his name and the Candle of the West turns into the Flame of the West for this one. So very cool. Yeah. Now, more doors in Mordor. Mr. Michael Stewart, would you like to walk us through this one, mate?
Yeah, I'm happy to get another one. So under severe oppression and duress, Warg from Jeffrey here has forced me to take the Dark Marshal, as much as I detested that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I am serious.
Dark Marshal's one of the better casters as well.
I'm a bit of a fan of the Witch King. It's a bit more sentimental value there, especially coming into Crown of Morgul. I do want to take the Crown of Morgul, but Jeff has forced me to take the Dark Marshal, which I think will be like maybe one of the first times I actually do take him. So I'm coming in fresh with this, and I'm just a bit wavery about it. But I've been working on a list for a little while now, and it's kind of, I'm not happy with it, but we're just going to have to go with it because we've run out to a deadline. So I've got some Morannon Orcs in there. Just to hold the line. So Morannons with shields, the Dark Marshal as well on a horse, just to pop that banner. I took 4 Morgul Knights and just 4 more shields just to hold. They're just baby orcs, so basic orcs just to hold the line. I took Shagrat, going back to the list where I used to roll with about 3 years ago when it first came out, when I first got back into it. And just got some more Morannons in there, a few more boys with shields. I've got Cardouche, which I found some really nice wombo combos you can do. So you can compel banners out of range and then hit them with a fireball, which I've done twice now to you, Jarek, which I don't oppose. And I've taken my little baby. So I'm a really big fan and advocate for the Great Beast of Gorgoroth. It just has model count. It has bows. It's got something people have to deal with. It can be a very unwieldy. because it has to move its full 8 when it moves because it counts as a trample. I can't find anywhere else in the rules where it says you can't. So I just have to plan my maneuvering around that and try not to overextend and get it killed and leave a big bubble in my forces. So that's my list coming out at 50 models.
Oof. 50 models, the Great Beast, I know you do quite well with. Dark Marshal, instead of the Witch King, I don't actually mind it because I think that bumps you up your model count to that 50 mark from where it was 45-ish. So, yeah, I do understand missing the sentimental value there, though. The Witch King, he's very good, but he is a fight 6 Wraith, which is nice to have. And Kardush, the Fireburst, it doesn't have anything that you look at the list and go, gee, I'm scared of that. But overall, seeing it on the table, everything works so well together, and it can just... I played against your list with the Witch King just recently with my Poison Spam Harrod, and I think you completely mopped the floor with me and then proceeded to throw out the bucket. So, yeah, I'm not scared of it with my TO list, of course, but I think a lot of people are going to be fretting running into this. The Great Beast is great lines, and those Morgul Knights with the banner support, strength 4. Yeah.
I like the I think the Dark Marshal with Shagrat definitely does it for me. I think if you didn't have Shagrat, if you had a different hero, but I think Shagrat does give you that, that extra threat to strike. He can deal with most things, especially backed up with a transfix. So I think the Shagrat with the Dark Marshal is definitely what gets it over the line for me.
No one wound Wraith as your leader either, and the Kardush will battery for that banner and combats if you need it.
You're proud of that one, are you, Jeff?
The Dark Marshal has to be the leader, though, still, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has to be the leader.
Yeah.
But
I keep getting Shagrat and what's his name, Razgush confused because he's only Fortitude. So yeah, unfortunately, the Marshal will still have to be a leader, Stewie. Not getting out of the Wraiths, mate.
I'm not too fussed about that. Like usually the Dark Marshal is in a support role. It's not really there to go beat the crap out of stuff that he can do. He does have that option to do it, but if he does get low on that will point, I can use Kardush to give me D6 will points back to just give me a little bit longevity with the Dark Marshal if I do need it there as well.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Well, hopefully you can redeem yourself from the past tournament performances, mate, and take a podium. We'd love to see it.
I like it, mate. I'm keen to run into a Great Beast again.
All right. And then we've got another list here from Mr. Porteous, I believe. So we've got the Dead of Dunharrow and Aragon. This is in the Return of the King Legion, I believe.
Yeah, that is correct. So it's just another young man who's going to start playing some games with us. So we just wanted to give him something simple, something basic to run with that can still hold his own. So Return of the King Legendary Legion, like there is a bit of finesse still in that, but a lot of the solid troops that don't die, toughness 8, cause terror, plus a real beat stick with Aragon as long as he can look after them. So we've taken some Warriors of the Dead, 5 with shield, 4 with spear and shield, making sure I give shields to all the guys so they get the defense 8. Took a couple of riders in there in Aragon. I took the King of the Dead, which gives you that Harbinger as well, so that -1, and filled out his warband similar to Aragon's with the 5 shield, 4 spear, and the rider, and then just a Herald to get that bit of magic resistance around those models, those undead models within 3 inches, and also that will point to those will points you can trade over to some heroic effects, heroic actions for the Witch King. So just giving him a bit of a support role with the Pendant of the Dead. So pretty solid list going forward. I'd really like to see that run into Gothmog's Legendary Legion at the start, but probably won't be too fun for Gothmog's Legendary Legion. But I'm a man for theme, so I'm voting for that one, even though it probably won't turn out too well for poor old Gothmog, just like the movies.
Yeah, it's still 32 models at defense 8. That's pretty rough. Like the fight 3 hurts, but you got the banner from Aragon as well. Aragon's still doing plenty of damage. 32 models wounding on courage as well with Harbinger. So even, all this talk of the defense 7 walls that we're going to be seeing and some of the defense 6 everywhere that a lot of armies are going to struggle with, he's going to be wounding on 3s and 4s. And I think, 3s and 4s for the most part, aside from the elves. So that's it can still front to back really well. Where it does lack in the shooting department, and I think bolt throwers will probably hurt it, it's still got potential to do some work. And it seems to be a favourite for new players as well. They really want to play the dead guys. No, fantastic. All right. We know what it does. We'll move on to the next list. All right.
Not list related, but best of luck, Mitchell. Seen you in a couple of games now, mate. You're doing well. And honestly, after these 5 games, you'll be a pro. So see you in podium soon.
All right. Now, from Mr. Ben McGovern, he has the Mordor. With him, he's got the Witch King of Angmar, 3 extra fate, 3 extra might, 2 extra will. Doesn't look like an armored horse with crown. It's got 6 black Numenorians, 6 Morannon Orcs with spears, 5 Morannon Orcs with shield, Morannon Orc with banner. We've got Goroth, 4 Morannon Orcs with shield, 4 Morannon Orcs with spear, 4 Wild Riders, Great Beast of Gorgoroth. Wild Riders have shields and throwing spears, as well. And then we've got a Morannon Orc captain with no additional equipment. And then we've got 5 Morannon Orcs with spear and 5 Morannon Orcs with shield. So looking at a pretty Morannon-centered list with a Great Beast at that 49 warriors, which is going to take it to 53 models, a bit of terror sprinkled in, not a heap of will on the Witch King, but still Goroth to do some damage as well.
How much
Has that Witch King got a mount?
Yeah, it's on an armored horse.
All right.
Yeah, is that 12 will on the Witch King?
12 will on the Witch King, yeah.
That's a bit rough.
That's a bit low, but
yeah,
he's looking for only 1 dice transfixes everywhere. I can see it still paying off, and maybe in combination with Goroth to really sort of take out heroes that way, and maybe relying more on the troops and the army bonus to get the work done, with the Black Numenorians playing more of a terror sort of support role. So, still got pretty, 53 models is still a lot.
Yeah, I like it. You got strength 4, defense 6. You've got that Witch King. It's not going to be beating the crap out of stuff. It's going to be that support role, keeps your general alive. You've got the Great Beast in there, and you got Goroth, who's an absolute monster. If you can get that transfixes and just get that wombo combo with both of them happening, I think that's definitely a good little combination, and just let them do their work. And a few Wild Riders there to give you that strength 4 and knockdown bonus, and some movement as well.
You know what, Stewie, I think this reminds me very much of your list, and I almost think this list would benefit from a Dark Marshal instead of a Witch King.
Plus one.
Maybe we can grudge each other in the first round, and we'll see how we go. Hey? Sap and will off each other at the start, I reckon.
So he's going to lose that fight. Yeah. Okay. No, cool. If he runs into plenty of good matchups for it, but I think shooting will be the biggest weakness for it.
And terror again. He's got no.
Yeah, no shaman as well, which could be sketchy. He's gambling, but so far we've only seen 4 terror.
3 terror.
It's terror's not huge this year, which surprises me honestly. So very cool. Thank you, Ben. He'll be having a few whiskeys with us, I'm sure. All right. So now.
Oh, this is what we've all been waiting for, boys.
Oh, disappointed.
Absolute filth.
Where's the Mumak?
Sean, you can just rag on this if you want.
Where's the Mumak?
He's hanging
You
out.
said the Mumak was showing up. All right, next list. Let's go.
I'll take this one, Cal.
Yeah, I thought you.
No one else will like it, so I better give it some love. So yeah, it's taken my one of my other bread and butters, Angmar and Corsairs, my 2 favourites, BFFLs. So in Warband 1, we've got Mr. Delamere. He's leading 5 Corsairs with shield, 4 with shield spear, and 4 Arbalestas. Then we've got Delgamar, same configuration, 4-3-4. Corsair captain, just bare bones, just a move battery with a bit of fight 5 if I need it, leading 4-3-4. And then Big Bad Suladan, and this is a bit of a change up from that list I ran at the Defence of the North, is he's actually taken 7 Aprakan Merchant Guard, as well as a Serpent Rider, 1 Harrod Warrior with spear, and 9 Harrod Warriors with bow and spear. So tops me out at 57 models total. And yeah, a couple of little tricks, plenty of shooting. I think I've got 12 crossbows in total, and then another 9 poison bows on top of that. Plus plenty of poison weapons, plenty of fight 4, +1 to wound in a couple of places. And the heroes, while not the best, can hold their own. So we'll see how we
you
go.
got the throwing weapons.
What's that, sorry?
You got the throwing weapons.
Yeah, throwing weapons.
Are showing up with names.
Can't say that word, gents. I just have.
Yeah, mate, I know, but
We'll kick you from the chat. Stop spamming.
I think this would be banned from GBHL if you posted this list. But
yeah,
Jeff, I'll be real disappointed if at least once you don't do the classic Corsair trick of putting your entire army in front of your Arbalisters so that your opponent walks forward and then lying every model on the ground. If you don't do that at least once, I'll be thoroughly disappointed in you. That will be the only reason I will be happy that you take this list.
Yeah, I think I've been sitting there quivering a little bit. I think a couple of the lists that have come up, I'm thinking, oh, I don't play too well into that. So I'm actually quite excited for this tournament to see what I can do against those matchups. So
You and me both, man. Some of these lists are stressing me out.
I think your list, Jeff, has got. I think obviously the Dark Marshal's going to be a bit of a problem for it. Also the assault on Lothlorien, but that being said, if you can get within 12 inches, your bows and your shooting is going to be better than theirs.
You're laughing,
especially with the +1 to wound. But yeah, just the firepower. There seems to be a trend of firepower in this at the moment, and you've definitely got that firepower there. So yeah, it'll be interesting. And you played this really well at Defense of the North. Obviously, it's a little bit different, but the bare bones were the same. So I think, based on what we've seen you do, I think it's going to be one of those lists that's pretty up there come the end of the tournament.
I just want those fatties to do some work, mate. I haven't run fatties before. I love the model. I want them to just get stuck in, do some work. So we'll see what I can do.
I'm glad. It's awesome.
All right. Well, I can't comment on this anymore. Yeah.
Drone strike.
I would love. I want to play every single person in this tournament with my TO list because I think it would be so much fun.
Darren, no.
This is one of the love. I see this list and I go, yum, come on, bring it. Beautiful. Plenty of spears to get involved with. So very good. Thank you, Jeff. Hopefully you can not take your foot off the throttle and see if you can bring home a podium and take it off Sean. Would be good.
We'll see.
Up next.
It'd be nice to see someone from Gladstone actually win a tournament in Gladstone for once.
It'd be nice to see someone from Brisbane win a tournament in Brisbane, mate.
See, the thing is, we just don't care.
We can say the same thing.
We're making you guys feel welcome down here.
We clearly don't care.
Yeah, you live in Gladstone, that's right.
It must be they're traveling the 6 hours either way just to play a tournament that drives us to the win.
It really, it makes you do so. I reckon it was the hot wings on the last day of night. Well, the end of day one. Those hot wings, they spurred me on for the next day.
Absolutely. All right. So up next, we've got Mr. Josh from Canberra, our furthest travelling player. Thank you so much, Josh, for returning up to Queensland to come and play. Despite the fact that I'm painting a Lothlorien army for him, and he was going, I don't want to fly with an army. It's just going to be painful. I'll probably play Lothlorien, mate. I said, no worries, buddy. That was the last I heard. And then this morning, a little bit late, he sends me this army list. And I go, huh?
It's mainly because myself and Stewie bullied him into it.
Because you didn't
just slight bullying. Yep. It was repeated once. So bullying's only repeated once, so it counts as bullying, but it was slight. Only slight, just like it.
It was a slight nudge out the window.
Anyway, so we've got Mr. Dane Ironfoot, the King of the Mountain. So this is old Dane, I believe.
Yeah, this is the new profile. Not the Legion, but it's the new profile from the Defense of the North book.
Yeah, so he's got 7 dwarves, Iron Hills dwarves with shield and spear. He's got 3 crossbowmen, and then he's got 2 goat riders as well. Then we've got Dylon, the absolute blender, champion of Erebor. Not on goat, importantly. Interesting. Then he's got 6 Iron Hill dwarves with shield and spear, 3 crossbows, another goat, and then we've got Thor and 3 Stonehelm, and he's leading 7 more with shield and spear, 3 crossbows, and another goat. So 33 warriors for a total of 36 models, and it will be 9 might with the Master of Battle and might shenanigans on Thorin.
No, he doesn't get Master of Battle in this list.
Is this he can 5+ though to cancel or to get might back or something?
Thorin. That's Thorin. Yeah, that's Thorin.
So, and as well as Dylon being the absolute blender, he is a little low on the model count when you compare it to the other dwarf lists that we've seen. But
Defense 8 though, and strength 4.
Yeah, 9 crossbows and 5 goats in there, 4 goats in there. Pretty savage. I always have a hard time cracking onto Iron Hills. I think it's just a lot of the armies that I play, they seem to match up really well against me. So yeah, it's tough. I haven't seen the new heroes in action yet, so be curious to see how they go.
I'm most scared of that Dwalin. It'd be nice to have him on goat to get it. Can he get to 5 attacks on the goat on the charge?
I'm not sure. I've never seen a Dwalin.
He runs Dwalin, champion of Erebor, runs around with 4 attacks when he's using his 2 axes.
Pretty sure he does go to either 4 or 5 attacks on that goat. It's an absolute blender.
Just disgusting. And is tough to put down as well. The only reason you kind of can get rid of him when it's young Dwalin or Dwalin from Thorin's company is because he's not super high defense, whereas now I think he goes up to D7 or something.
D8.
D8, yeah. He's hard to put down.
So his 4 attacks is on foot only, and D8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, if that's the case, you don't necessarily need to go. The knockdown to get the traps, fine and all, but bugger it, you've got 4 attacks at Burley, strength 5.
Yeah, exactly.
You're laughing.
He does have 6 crossbow in there too, so there's quite a few crossbow running around out of his 33 model count of 33 warriors. So
he's got 9 crossbow total.
So he's got 6
models in total.
So it's good to see some crossbows there. Strength 4 having a bit of outreach for the walls with their stumpy legs running around. So I'd like to see how that works. Usually only takes a couple, so it's a little bit different for Josh to do this time.
Yeah, interesting. And he's got the goat, and he's got those 2 new heroes. Like Thorin can do that 5+ and he gets his might back. So if you get on a roll with that, you just keep calling heroic combat.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, be curious to see some on the table. All right. What have we got next?
Rightio, guys. So this list here is Easterling Legendary Legion, the new one that's coming up. You'll probably see it in a battle report, actually, this Friday, the exact list. Something that I've been brewing up for a while, and one of our new players is pretty keen on Easterlings. He's asked to play them, so I've set him up with this list. Obviously in the Legendary Legion, so we've got the Dragon Emperor of Rune. He's leading 7 Black Dragon warriors with Pike and Shield, obviously with the free Black Dragon upgrade. Warband 2, we've got Ratabi leading 11 with Shield. No Black Dragons there, just to save on the points. Then we've got Brogia the Conjurer leading 5 Easterlings with the Honesty Bows and 2 Acolytes. And finally, we've got an Easterling Dragon Knight with Armoured Horse leading 1 Black Dragon Cataphract with Drum, which is free because it's in a Dragon Knight's Warband, and also 2 normal Black Dragon Cataphracts. So 42 models, the majority of which will be fighting at Fight 5 with that 12-inch band. Very similar sort of principle to Riley's list, just focusing more on a really solid pike wall as opposed to Acolytes running around at Fight 5.
Yeah, look, I've seen the power of just that Legion, and it scares me how effective it front to backs and just Fight 5, the banner, the compounding effects, and that list that I've of course run into with my 4 King Mahud King Camel list, and I hit the Fight 5 and didn't go far, and I think I killed like 15 models out of the whole army, and you wiped me, I believe. So it's just, it is really rough. If you try to play a fast tempo list into it, you just stop, you just bounce off. I think I'd really like to see this run into the Thrandril's halls, because we have 40 odd Fight 5 models clashing. I think that would be very interesting to see. But crazy. Yeah,
so obviously those unaware, the heroes all get a Lord of the East reroll for their dual roll, plus you got the 12-inch banner, plus the free Black Dragons. Like there's there's a fair bit going on in this list. Brogir can surprise you sometimes because he's only a one attack model, but he's got a 12-inch banner and whatever else. Like, it's even if he's outside of the banner, he gets that free reroll. You think about Ritabi and whatnot, they're re-rolling 2 dice a turn each. It's just every combat, if you're not throwing 3 dice, you're probably doing something wrong. So
also, if the player really wants to and needs to up his numbers, he has the ability to drop the palanquin and just boom, there's 6 more Fight 5 models showing up. And depending on the scenario, the situation, what army he's going up against, he could do that fairly, like, not early on, but like mid-game. He could decide, all right, let's drop this and let's just rush troops through. And suddenly that drops him up to 48 models. Yeah,
you lose the 5/5 in the banner.
Does that move your break point as well?
no.
I don't
Starting
believe
model.
so, because it starts as
Starting
one model.
Yeah.
But
And your break point's always your starting force. It's like the Goblin Scribe.
yeah. So
But is
it's
models
still
remaining?
well worth it though. In some situations, it's not going
It's
to be
always based off your.
Yeah,
No,
models
what I
that are killed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's if you need 19 models remaining to break, for example, and you're at 20 and you get 6 more models on the board, you need to kill down to 19 models remaining to break you.
No, it's models that are killed out of that starting number. That's what counts.
Break,
Yeah,
break
So the
is
scribe
saying-
that adds extra models
Yeah.
doesn't actually. It's still, you only need 20 to break them. Once you kill 20 models, they're broken, even if they've got 40 models on the board from the scribe. It's the same
Yeah,
way.
it'd be the 20 from that starting number. But it's like there's some nasty tricks this can do, and obviously the palanquin's got everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
and
watched
just-
Aragon walk into that palanquin and bounce off it the entire game. Just
And it's
yeah.
even like the defense 7, even like the defense 7 dwarf list. Just the fact that you're rolling 3 dice every combat, just the chance of getting you fight 5, you got 3 dice plus you got a banner, so you win the fight because you're rolling 4 dice to win the fight. You get the 6, and then even to roll to wound, like you get 3 dice to roll to wound, like, and you're fainting with the front, like you see it so much where that 3 dice you get the 6, and you just kill a defense 7 model, and you cut through like the high defense models really quickly with this, even though it's only strength 3.
I think that's where everyone for ages was saying that, Eastlings are shit. They need strength 4, strength 3 isn't enough. But I feel like a lot of people overlooked the ability of the Eastlings to go, cool, here's 3 models in a line versus your 1. If I win, I've got 3 dice. My chances of rolling a 6 are fairly high. And so that's where their killing power came from.
Yeah, but the issue traditionally was because of the double hero of valor at that 150 point mark on average, you always ended up at this awkward 30-ish model count, 33, 34. And the real thing that's been a help is the cheaper heroes of valor, the hero of legend from the king. And that's actually
dragon.
That's what's
That's
allowing
fair.
you. Because traditionally it was, okay, if you want to hit that 40 model count, you need to double captain, or you take the shaman and a captain, and then you've got Armder, and you're kind of like, that's me, and Armder is the play piece, so to speak. So having the likes of Brogir in there, who's a more effective shaman, got some access to some more damaging spells, like that Tremor, although it can be swingy on some players, I know Riley doesn't like to use it, you get a good Tremor off, man, you can kill 4 or 5 models, and then that pike wall is just going to, go further. So I think the real hidden buff to the Eastlings was the inclusion of those heroes at a cheaper cost.
Heroes. Yeah.
And come
Yeah, but you've raised some really good points there. But for Ryan to go into this tournament, I think he's going to do really, really well with that front to back fighting. I think missions are the only thing that's really going to be tough for this list. But yeah, this army is. I played into this 3 or 4 times, and it is very solid. It's probably up there, very scary. If you haven't played into this yet, or you're looking for something that you want to play some pretty tough armies into, this is definitely one of them.
Yeah, it's a good trial run, and especially this configuration as well. You've got really solid angle, and you still got a pretty frightening, like the Dragon Knight can still, combat up from another hero, like with Ratabi, and he strikes up because he has strike. He can run into an infantry hero and flash kill it, blood and glory, do it again next turn. Like they've got some really cool things that they can do. And I think this is now, finally, we can see Easterlings played the way we always imagined them, and not being this, okay, I've got 30 guys to sit here and die. Let's hope these 3 heroes can do all the heavy lifting and basically gambling. So, yeah, I think
law-wise, they're a military society, so this is how they should be. They should be running around.
They should also be fighting, as should Gondor. But anyway, let's not get caught up on
Mate, you're getting free fight 4. I don't think you need free.
This list, it plays that front to back very well. Very basic if you wanted to play it that way, but there is some absolute hidden gems. You'll probably see one, just those moments that make you love this game. And you'll see one of our battle reports coming out against poor old Stewie, unfortunately. But, as you were saying, Cal, the Dragon Knight into a hero, calls the strike. The automatic reaction of that strike is for that hero to counter call the strike. But then you've also got a Ratabi in there. Ratabi has a 3+ Master of Battle. So suddenly you're double striking against that hero. But then Brogy is put the strength 6 on Ratabi, who also, because you've charged it with the Cav model, the model is trapped. She gets to reroll her wounds. So you've got 2 strikes. You've just, you were killing the model. If you set everything up right, this list can just go off its head, So,
also, I like the sneaky ability of enchanted blades onto the Dragon Emperor. So you get 3 strength whatever strikes, and then you get the potentially additional 6 strength 3 strikes. At 9 strikes, you should be killing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's I reckon for me it's actually borderline like too good.
What?
That's okay.
Busted?
Yeah.
The
Dragon Emperor needs to go up points. He needs to go up in points. He's way too cheap for what he does.
I'm glad that Evil has some Fight 5 boys. I've been playing Elves for too long and not having anything to respond with. Now we've got something.
True.
All right, mate. Let's bring out Fight 6. Fine.
Right,
moving on.
We got Mr. Nicholas Franklin running a tried and tested list in his Gladstone sort of format. This is what I was saying about earlier, Sean. So we've got the Rise of the Necromancer Legendary Legion. He's running the Necromancer, the Witch King, the Lingering Shadow, 2 Abyssal Knights, 2 Slayers of Men, and 2 Castellans.
Morgul play.
He came second with this list last year. I remember announcing the results, and he almost looked surprised. He was like, huh? So either I did some really bad math or he played really well. I think he got like 3-12-0 or 3-12-1 victories at least. He whooped armies. Like he went up against elves and trashed them, which is a big shock because this army's big like counter is elves. Yeah. Elves. So no, it's I've always wanted to run this list. And I remember speaking to Pat when he was running it as the buyer player at a tournament, going, man, this is just the kind of cool skew list that I really love, and I've just not gotten around to doing it. And then seeing Nick turn up with it last year and do so well, I went, okay, this could be me. And it was green it again. So I'm super excited to see it on the field. I was always hovering around his tables. Like everyone kind of knows what it does. Just the 2+ resurrect, the might, it grinds despite only having 9 models.
Yeah.
The only thing that's probably going to be a bit of a challenge is there's a few Fight 5 armies here this year, so it's really not having that over everyone, whereas typically it was, hey, I've got Fight 5. Like, I'm probably going to win a lot of these fights, hills, and grind you better. We're looking at probably 7 or 8 Fight 5 lists, which is a good 1/3 of the pack. So,
I played this list round 1 at the last tournament, and like I had Mirkwood, I had Thranduil's Falls, I had 30-something models, and like it didn't matter. I was killing, like, sometimes I'd kill 3 or 4 of these guys a turn, and he just roll a 3 and they'd come back and I'd be like, cool. And you're like, oh yeah, he'll eventually run out of might. As long as he rolled that 3+, it just didn't care, and it just outgrinded me. And at the end of the day, I was like, well, there's nothing I can do. It's a tough list. It's a cool list.
I think the only changes he's made from last year was his addition of the Castellans of Dol Guldur.
Yeah.
Which will be interesting because last last time, he had all these models that were returning, but now suddenly he's got 2 models that once they die, they're gone. And so they're going to be the immediate targets just to drop numbers quickly, and then they can start dealing with everything else.
Not have the Castellans last time.
I think he might have had one.
I'm not sure.
I swear he had 2. I think this is the identical list.
Yeah,
It could very well be.
Yeah,
it could very well be.
Had 1 at least last time, but I think it was 2 actually. Yeah, so it'd be the same list.
Okay.
Might be the same.
It might just flat out be the same then. No, fair enough. Fair enough. I didn't think he brought any Castellans last time, but then again, I didn't verse him, so what do I know?
Yeah, no, very cool. Excited to see how Nick does.
Righto. And last list that I've been given by Mr. Callan is another local player is Kyron's Cirith Ungol. So in this list, he's got the big man Shagrat leading it. He's got some Mordor Uruk-hai in his warband, 12 of. Then the other fella in that list that you normally see, Gorbag, he's leading an assortment of Orc Warriors. And we've got a Mordor and Uruk-hai Orc captain. A Uruk and an Orc captain. And then finally, Shelob. So it's pretty standard what you see in the sort of Cirith Ungol Legendary Legion. I know Kyron's been playing this list religiously for, say, the last 3-4 months, and he has gotten particularly good on maximising the fight for the Uruk-hai and the animosity special rules. Yeah. So I think, if you haven't played the Cirith Ungol Legendary Legion before, you might get surprised by Strength 4 Uruks with +1 to wound in your face. plus Shelob doing Shelob things. So
yeah, and Shelob getting extra attacks in this Legion as well by eating an Orc, as well as the combos which we saw pulled up on Saturday with Shagrat, Shelob, heroic combats and bouncing things around. Like Kyron's only been playing Middle Earth for just over a year now, I believe, and he's come so far. And it really feels like the last few months, specifically with this list, he's finally the nitty and gritty of the game. He's just getting real sharp on, and he's starting to towel us up. And I'm hoping he's going to come in, if not podium, come top 5, top 10. Like I really hope he comes out and just smacks people up with this, because I would love to see it just pop off. It's a cool list, and he's got the hang of it now. So I hope he does well with it. I'm pretty hyped to see it go, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm glad he decided to take it.
Yeah, I think Kyron's been practicing this for a while, and I'm really happy to see that he's sticking to this list and he's really starting to understand how it plays and how it works. And I think that's going to be a benefit to him. And as much as I hate to see him grow, because it's going to make our job harder, it's actually good to see him actually giving it to us to make us better gamers as well, but also growing him up as a better gamer too. So good on you, Kyron. Keep it up.
Yeah.
I think that's something to shout out to any newer players is find a list and just play it religiously, and you will excel as a player. If you jump around from list to list, you won't move up in your knowledge of the game. You think you will because you're doing lots of different things, but if you can figure out the nitty gritty of one thing and then go from there, like I feel myself plateauing at the moment as a player because I keep jumping from list to list. I want to get myself back to just playing one army for months and months, and then just dial into that and go. I'm hoping to do that with my wargs in the near future, because I want to towel some people up with a couple of puppy dogs.
Oh, Wagma. Oh man, what an army.
What an army. That, ridiculous. Pardon?
Wargs
the next Gladstone tournament, it will be the wargs.
With the bat.
Possibly with the Gulavar as well.
He's
I'm not coming back for that one, boys.
All right. So up next, we've got Steve's very famous Mahud and Harrod Alliance. So pretty fun. It's Sulan leading 3 Serpent Riders, 3 Hadron Raiders with bows and war spears, and then 3 identical warbands of Mahud Kings with war spears and 6 Raiders with war spear and blowpipe. So it's a pretty low model count. It's at that 28 models, but peep some of the battle reports that we've done. I believe one against you, Mick, and then one against Jarek as well, which will be coming out shortly. That it just gets on a roll and it just deletes models, and then all of a sudden any battle plan you've got is gone. Important things to note: if you haven't played the Mahud, strength 4 impact hits on every model they charge will rip through things. And then even then, they're strength 4 models with lancers, which the only other non-hero model that has that is the Iron Hills Goat. And the Mahud Kings fight 5 3 attacks with a strength 5 lance. They delete everything. So it's a really, really fun list. It takes some skill. Steve's getting there with it as well. He hasn't played too many games, but I really hope he turns one on and runs into some people who haven't played camels before and rolls a lot of 6s and watches people pack their armies up, because there's no quite like to remove fight 5 model.
He gave me a run for my money at the last Gladstone event, round 1. I basically turned my game into like I was playing Napoleonic warfare, where I had my army of Gondor just in a square and the bolt thrower sitting in the middle. And I was just opening up these spots to try and shoot out. But as soon as those camels came in, that square crumbled into nothing. It's terrifying.
It's definitely an army that you have pay to win vibes from, because those camels are very hard to get a hold of, and they're very, very, very expensive. So they hit like a truck. I know that I've played camels a few times now, but there's some battle reports on our WAG channel. And you put a battle line out there, like a typical battle line of some random orcs with spears, and you're like, yep, okay, they'll hold for a couple of turns, and then I'll maneuver my stuff. And then they come in and they just hit you. And then you're like, well, there goes my battle line, and I have to do something to fill the hole right now, but you don't have the troops anymore. And they're just like running amok through your battle line. You're like, what do I do? They're just, that strength for impact hit is absolutely amazing.
And having the king as well, just the 3 kings, you got Thuladin, who's your support hero, counts as a banner, and then you've just got 3 hand grenades, fight 5, 3 attacks, full on the charge. You just throw them in, and like Steve is getting better at using them, and it can be pretty. They can take a lot of models off the table very, very quickly.
Mate.
Yes, personal highlights with me piloting camels was removing Gil-galad and Glorfindel with only 1 round of actual dice rolling from him. Other highlights include one Mahud Raider killing 6 Khandish horsemen in 1 charge, and then 3 Mahud Raiders charging a Khandish king, breaking the chariot and killing the king simultaneously. And that was all in 1 turn too. I don't think I've seen that guy back at any events since I played that game against him. I hope that's not because of me. But yeah, they are fun as hell. And the look on your opponent's face when you roll like 3 or 4 6 in a row with the Mahud, just a regular guy as he runs through 4 models and kills your banner. Oh, it's just so much joy. So hopefully Steve does well. And yes, definitely pay to win. Says me and Steve have gone halves in this army, more or less. He's definitely put more into it than I have. But I think
he also raised you, so
Yeah, the cost is about, I think we're at $5,000 so far for all the Mahud and Harrod stuff. So yeah, it's pretty
good to see the old man having a go, honestly.
Yeah, that's been Jack's dad for those people who aren't aware. So he doesn't play a lot of anymore. He used to be really big on Panzerfaust and stuff. So it's really watching him play Lord of the Rings, which is the game that we grew up playing, is really awesome. So especially playing such an obscure, strange, wacky army is just absolutely fantastic. So hopefully he gets a good trot, can run Sean over. That would be a freaking highlight for me.
I want to see these guys
against Sean. If I play him, I'm going to throw my game.
The Hobbits.
We'll all just throw our games. I think I'll shuffle some points, make it happen. So importantly, we're supposed to have 2 more lists, but they have unfortunately not been submitted. One from Felix, who I haven't heard from, so I'm not sure if he's even coming anymore. And one from Adam, who unfortunately has been a little bit busy and has not been able to get one through to me. All good though. We don't deduct points for that here in Gladstone because honestly, list submission is just checking that everything's legal and everyone's up to date and okay. And mainly so we can do this show and get a video out to you guys. But the final list, as promised, is my TO list. So if I do get the joy of playing, I've prepared something special. So for the grand reveal, I'm a big fan of skew lists, and we'll like to just review this one, guys. So this is what I'm taking as the TO. Any thoughts?
I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair, and I want a refund.
Gumby lists are meant to be like chill lists. It's like let's both have some fun. not this bullshit.
Well, I honestly think though the Dragon Emperor is probably kills this list though. That fucking bust.
So yeah, the leader is Sauron, of course, the Dark Lord, and it's a red alliance with Moria, and we've got Durin's Bane in there. So I like to think of it as Morgoth and Gothmog, second age or first age rather. So it's pretty fun. Only 3 might in the whole army. Only a grand total of 15 wounds. They are at defense 9 minimum though. Yeah, and should be pretty fun. The lowest fight value in the army is 9. So take fight 5 everywhere. Yeah.
I raised you fight 5 to fight 9. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah. If I roll a lot of 4 high, which my Sauron is notorious for, it could be pretty funny. But it would be great to run this into some new players and really show them the Middle Earth experience. And of course, we have a throwing weapon on the Balrog. So really hyped to see what we can.
One comment, or one question. Go the question first. Asking for a friend. If the mission is Contest of Champions, are you going to change the mission for the buy? Or are you going to make them play it? Righto.
How I play as TO is I am a valid player in the tournament. The only cap I obviously can't win prizes. So I can come first and I'll take home the trophy, but prizes will show and stuff like that. So I'm not expecting.
Second question.
Hate that.
I hope there's even numbers.
Yeah, well, we'll see. So they are on track to have even numbers, but there's 1 or 2 people who've mentioned that they might not be able to make it last minute. So if that does happen, I've got this.
Plus in the world we live in at the moment.
I think there's a storm brewing this weekend.
I think I might just get COVID that weekend.
Closing. That's the last list, is it, Kel?
That is the last submitted list, yes. So I've got a few closing remarks to say, and I'm going to show off one of the grand prize that's going to come along with first place as well in just a second. The only other thing to add is for those of you coming to the tournament, hope you guys have enjoyed reading through the list review and the Hot Wings contest. The prize for doing so is going to be the Balrog model that I'll be using, fully painted by me. So that is up for grabs if you can brave a few spicy wings. It was initially going to be a 3D printed Smaug, but we ran into some dramas getting that over the line for the event. So I thought this was a perfect way to segue it in. I was going to just play the Smaug for the buy player, but I thought this might fit me a little bit better. So yeah, I knew Sean would be stoked with that as well. So yeah, that's that. Any closing remarks from you guys while I disappear and go pick up this prize?
Before you go, mate, favourite list for the tournament as TO?
Well, mine's definitely my favourite, but as a secondary, let me just have a quick look at my list of lists. It's tough because there was a few that like really stood out to me that I went, I love it. I'll have to go with a top 3, I think. Number 1 would probably have to be Steve's though, because I've run many times. I love it. It's really fun. It's not competitive in the competitive sense, but it's competitive in each game. You walk to the table with a 20% chance of just getting the hottest dice of your life and rolling over. And then on a more serious note, Pat's list, after playing against it, I'm pretty scared of it. Like it just, the heroic conventional armies that don't have an answer for it. I think some of the Magic's really going to probably do some work on it, but it's still a lot to deal with. And then the third one for me is probably Kyron, actually, with the Cirith Ungol. Seeing he's towed pretty much everyone up recently, I'm putting him in as a bit of a dark horse to hopefully come out and smack some people.
Sounds good, mate. If you want to grab those prizes and work from the bottom up.
Yeah.
Stewie, who's your
got
top one, mate?
I think there's 2 mentions, or 3 mentions there actually. I know they're actually all local boys. I don't know the other list too well, but I think Aiden's definitely up there with the amount of dwarves, and he has the canniness to come in there. I think Kyron as well. He's been playing his list quite a lot, and he's getting quite used to playing that. And he's touched me up a few times, and I didn't agree with it, but I'm like, holy crap, he's actually getting a good player. So I think he has some potential. But I think the one that's going to be the most scary, especially for me, and I've played into this a few times, is definitely that Legendary Legion Easterlings. Like, I don't want to say I have a chip on my shoulder, but I can definitely see it on the side of my shoulder that there's a big chunk missing. But I think that's definitely got the legs to deal with nearly everything in this tournament. That's my top one.
Sweet, mate. Thanks for that. How about yourself, Jarek?
It's a tough one because there's a lot of good lists in there, but I guess looking at them all separately, in the context of the tournament, obviously there's a lot of good players. There's yourself, there's Sean, Pat, who are all very capable of winning the tournament.
Probably more lists.
Honestly,
on its own, mate. More than
yeah,
that,
I know the list.
Mate.
I know there's a lot of good players and there's a lot of good lists. I think I'm gonna. I know it's probably not gonna win the tournament, but I reckon the Hobbits are gonna surprise some people.
Yep.
I just think the Hobbits are really gonna. I think at that points level, there's just gonna be so many little bastards, and I'm excited to see how that goes. So that's probably my favourite list. I don't know if it's gonna win, but yeah.
Nice, mate. How about yourself, Sean?
Yeah, look, I'm in the same boat as Jarek right there. The Hobbits is my dark horse list. Do I see it winning the tournament? No. Do I want it to win the tournament? Yes.
Yeah.
Could I see it do? I could definitely see it in the podium position.
Yep.
I could see it hitting at least third. So I'm very excited for that. That 48 model dwarf list is going to be a really tough nut to crack. So cheering for that one as well. They're the two that I'm most excited to see how they go, and yeah, hoping they both do really, really well.
Yeah. Sweet
What about
as.
you, Jeff?
Yeah. Look, I honestly think that maybe there's one or two lists in there that you go, yeah, they're good lists. They're probably not world beaters, but I would say, at least 60 to 70% of those lists have potential. Like there is not many. There's not a dud list in the field at all, and nearly every single one of them is a pretty competitive offering. Putting the player part completely aside, if I was to pick a list to win just on its composition, it would probably be that Easterling Legendary Legion list, because I think it has an answer to everyone else's main strength. It's got the drum for the shooting. It's got the fight 5 for the fight 5 elves. It's got the bloody defense in depth, the defense 6, 3 ranks, 3 dice, 12-inch banner. As an army, I'd actually probably pick that to top the tournament. And I know Ryan's a fairly competent player in other systems, so I hope that'll translate. And yeah, I dare say, I reckon we'll see him on the podium. I'd be very surprised if he's not. So we'll see how he goes, eh? But yeah.
Right.
Well, guys, thanks very much for coming on. This is a bit different, sort of a different pace for us, and obviously it's a little bit lengthy. Make sure you let us know what you think. If you want to see more of these sort of tournament feedback, tournament prep videos, or these sort of, what would you call them, opinion pieces, please let us know. If it's dog shit, tell us and we won't do it again. Special big
Just do the noobs and ignore your audience.
big
Keep
shout
posting
out
those
to
battle companies, bro.
Yeah, everyone hates our battle companies, but guess what? We're still doing them. We're just cheering that shit out. Let's go.
Yeah, a big shout out to Sean for joining us. Always appreciate the Last Alliance of Noobs and Men coming on our channel, and we enjoy going on to theirs. So thanks for joining us, mate.
No, thanks for having me. It was good to see what my competition for the weekend is. I'm now sweating. I was coming in going, all right, cool, I'll have some ideas. Now I'm like, fuck, what do I do? That would be good. It's good. A lot of really good lists. Really excited for this tournament.
Yeah. And thanks for the other guys for coming on. We'll finish there, but we'll hand over to Cal. He's got some prizes to show us. And once he's done that, we might call it quits for the night, lads.
Morgul being the theme, obviously, of the I thought nothing better than the 20th anniversary Weta Workshop Witch King. Can't really see too great with the lighting, but we're probably going to do a tournament vlog, so we'll be shown in detail there. So that, along with the trophy and a Witch King, the brand new Witch King model, will be the first prize for the weekend. So pretty hyped. I hope whoever takes this guy home has a nice spot on the shelf, and hopefully it's just not Sean. That's all I'll say.
I'll start clearing my shelf up, boys. It's all good.
Yeah, right.
I'll move all my other trophies aside.
No worries, guys. Well, thanks very much for joining us.
Right.
We'll see you guys probably in a tournament recap video, whether you like it or not. And then based on the feedback we get from that, we might see a bit more of yous in this format. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Cheers, lad.
Cheers, later.